All right. Let's get this show on the road. Just wanted to talk a little bit about some of my thoughts for EVW19, all the matches, how it all went down. For the most part, I think there was a lot of unexpected twists, not gonna lie. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very, very much. Matter of fact, it really kind of opened my eyes up and introduced me to a whole bunch of potential with the strongman group. I don't know about you guys, but I think there is like a lot of potential collaboration, and most importantly, I think there's a lot of interest, really, a lot of interest from the strongman group, seeing that there is a path. Thank you for the jersey. Oh yeah, you're welcome. TS user, are you? Remind me, were you the user who won a competition like maybe a couple of weeks back by guessing my initial my one of my bachelor's degree or something? Well, Houdini. Well, yeah, potentially. Maybe at the end of this whole casual, relaxed environment, I might do a giveaway. I might do a giveaway. Oh, Indonesia. Apa kabar? Yeah, that's good. School lady boy. But yeah, just talking about we'll go to every match, right? And just some of my thoughts really. Saray Brown, Derek Smith, relatively new. Right? I know Derek has pulled in the past, but it was a pretty convincing win. And Martin and Lawrence, that was a very interesting match for in my perspective. I didn't know both of them really well, uh, because obviously it was an EVW that set the matches. But after getting to know, especially after the whole event, I got to just talk to Lawrence a little bit more. These guys are legitimately nice guys, absolute nice guys, lots of potential, lots and lots of potential, right? I really, really, really enjoy it. Oh, sup, y'all? Oh, guys. In a few minutes, I'll also explain. Well, I'm gonna make some couple of cool announcements in a second about how we are changing things up a little bit. So I'm glad actually Henry's here. Henry's here. Um, well, you know what? I don't want it to be a one person thing. If anybody that I know personally wants to jump on, totally okay with me. Sup, yo? Yeah, Cossy suggestions. This is a very casual thing. I was just like, oh, my kid's all in bed. Figure I should come in. I've seen everybody give sort of a kind of a recap of what they really thought about uh EV19, and I just wanted to also come in and share my perspective and some challenges, some but mostly positive stuff. Really, really positive. Let me send an invite to whoever wants to join. 19 is Vitali pulling left or right at the Swiss event? Oh, okay. So we will be announcing the Swiss event very, very shortly. Very, very shortly. Matter of fact, maybe we might announce it within the next few minutes. Let me see if they're ready. Uh Now thank you, buddy. Announce the Vitali match. Yes. So just hang tight for a second. We will potentially announce it right here on the channel. Actually, thanks for reminding me. Uh, please have an accurate measurements. Yeah. So, Cosy Mango, this is something that uh, we got to actively, I have to actively figure out how to fix this, because what happens is when we set up all the graphics, it takes like weeks to prepare everything, right? We have to design every single component, build it into a package, and it's very difficult to fix things on the fly. We in the past we have done what we did on an Excel spreadsheet, right? And every athlete has its corresponding measurements, right? Stats. And we had the system, if everybody is curious, it's VMix that ties in and connects with that spreadsheet. And so every athlete will just pull it from there. And as you've seen in the past few events, there was that kind of error. Oh,
Oh, hello.
hey,
I did not realize you would add me so quickly. I like got caught off guard a little bit.
it doesn't matter. I was just explaining how we why sometimes the graphics had some issues. And so anyway, so we have to tie that in so we can manipulate it because we take the measurements 24 hours before the event, right? So to update all the graphics was kind of a chaotic situation. So we connected to a spreadsheet where we could just update the spreadsheet and it will properly reflect. But for whatever reason, we could just never get it to work properly. There's always bugs in the first few rounds and the first few matches. And so this time around, we did none of that sort, which also means that we could not update things on the fly at the very last minute. So there's that. Um, so this one, okay, this is a big thing. Do you feel Ingen's departure did take away something? He was extremely knowledgeable and able to connect the athletes in a way you or Robert likely won't. I mean, fair. There is that whole thing about rebuilding relationships, right? I mean, but in all fairness as well, I only met Henry for the first time EVW 15.
Yes, I thought you would forget.
EVW 15, right?
Yes.
And I think within maybe one or two events, we start like talking, and I think I feel like I know Henry like matter of fact, I think I know Henry better than friends that I've met that I've known for years, right? So sometimes I don't think it's just how long have you known this guy, but how much actual quality time spent. I remember there was even one event. I think was it Chicago, maybe Istanbul. I can't remember.
I think it was Arlington.
Was it Arlington? No, you were in my room for like hours till like
That was
2 a.m.,
Arlington.
3 a.m.
Yeah.
Right?
I
And we were
literally, I was about to, I had my foot out of the door, and then you brought up something random. So I was like, okay, I guess we'll talk. And then we talked for like 4 hours.
yeah, and it was like, oh yeah, we're done. And so I think there's that. And I think Robert realized this, and that's why he's keeping the athletes a little bit closer to him right now instead of kind of outsourcing everything. And then obviously there's a language barrier, but so I think give him time, he will be able to achieve that whole communication. Yeah, that's my take on things in terms of the knowledge. Yeah, nobody nobody can really take that away from Ingen because he's been his life for the past decades. He's been studying every match. He's been watching everything that's happening around the world as best as he can reading every comments. But then again, there are many people collectively would also. I mean, no one person is better than an entire team. So, matter of fact, right, where when sometimes I have issues, well, like I'm trying to work through some problems, I try to get hold of multiple people. Matter of fact, Henry is one of them when I needed to figure out because we are working a deal specifically about gambling. It was like a couple of days ago when I'm like, oh, who's a big gambler? Who's the guy who can help me out?
I am a sports bettor. I'm not a gambler. All right.
Oh,
I don't.
sorry.
You
Sports
make
better.
it sound like I'm at the roulette table every night. Don't worry.
Oh no, yeah. My bad.
Only power slap and arm wrestling. That's it.
My apologies. Um, yeah. So I I just think collectively nobody is one person could be stronger than everybody else. I think that's but obviously, right? You know, the the best thing is if Ingen is part of that big group that we will have, right? The
Mhm.
community, the committee. I think that's literally the best. So I won't be, you know, it won't be even several years before I can even say that, oh, I'm an expert in arm wrestling, historical facts and data. Like I don't think I can ever say that unless I'm surrounded with good, strong, competent people. And I think Robert realized that himself. Now, Robert, though, as what he may seem, again, I need to tell everybody. Apparently, not everybody knows this, but Robert is a 7-time WAF world champion. He's only skipping this year because of all the drama he had at time to train. But he knows, from a technical standpoint, very, very good. He trained under the absolute best. He trained with Todd Hutchings. He trained under John Berzing for a really long time, Bob Brown, right? So he knows the technical aspect very, very well. And he knows other people, especially the Western people, very, very well. And the Eastern, now that he's kind of picking these up. But yeah, I know. Would I ever speak with Ingen again? Have him compete? What do you think?
Do you want my honest opinion, or you want
Yeah?
me to lie?
No, I think just be honest. I mean, just
In my
straight.
opinion, I would love to see Engen compete at East vs West, but there are so many bridges that have burned between so many people that would make that difficult. But ideally, if we can all say water under the bridge and maybe certain people don't talk to certain people, absolutely Engen should come and compete. But like to think that everyone's just going to cut off Engen, like, because someone said, will you ever speak to Engen again? I would be surprised if everyone just completely cuts off Engen. Like, that seems a bit harsh, but yeah, I would definitely say a lot of things would need to be rectified, especially with this whole thing of like him potentially doxing the site. I really don't understand what's going on with that. So like, I'm not ready to say he did or he didn't, because I don't know. So I'm not gonna speak on something that I don't understand. But if he really did do that, probably never really gonna mend that bridge. But if he didn't do that, maybe people could move on. But I definitely would like to see Ankin compete, just because, like, as an athlete, regardless of what we think of him as a person, whoever, anybody's opinion of he's bad, he's good, whatever, the guy is fucking good at arm wrestling, undeniably. He is at a very minimum going to be very competitive in a weight category, if not the champion. So it would be interesting to see him compete. But there definitely needs to be some bridge rebuilding between him and a lot of people, I'd assume.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, just like, again, I came in after certain drama has already taken place. Like, from what I'm hearing, there are issues with in the past, East versus West, with Aussie, Jake, with what's his name? Well, technically Ryan Bone was one of them, right? So there were a lot of, like, people that were kind of blacklisted. I mean, everybody saw that video that the arm wrestling series came out with. and
that guy's posting videos like left and right, dude.
Very entertaining. Now, obviously, I did not fact check him, but it was nonetheless entertaining. And this was before my time. But what I found was, I'm hoping not to go to that direction with almost anybody, unless you're out there blatantly there to waste my time, slander my name, make stuff up. There is a guy on Instagram, and I'm this close on him being the first person I personally banned and blocked. And I'll tell you guys, you wanna care to guess who that guy is?
Maybe it's the Eternal Grip Arm guy.
That's right, buddy.
That
guy is so obnoxious.
Well, I'll say, like, because I think it's one of those guys that almost everybody has blocked. But like, if you were to have blocked nobody and it was your one pick, like if you told me, Henry, you can only block one person in the arm wrestling community, who are you blocking? My pick is Eternal Grip Arm, probably. But he hates me because he believes, I actually think he's behind the fake Henry account. I don't have any evidence. It's just like my gut feeling, but he definitely believes I'm in some way like really biased towards Devin. So he's said a lot of bad stuff about me. I'm really not. Like, I'm not a Devin fan at all. I'm not a Dennis fan at all. I don't, I'm not really a fan of any athlete. I just enjoy the sport. But yeah, I think, when the Dennis fans think you like Devin and the Devin fans think you like Dennis, I think that means that you're perfectly unbiased and you're in the right position. But yeah, like he's got some perception that I'm like a huge, Devin or Dennis hater. for one reason or another. I don't know. It's in his head, but yeah. But I believe I have him blocked, and I think he made a new account, so I didn't. He actually like said some death threat towards me because I put Devin as number one pound for pound.
Yeah, this guy, he was literally messaging me today, arguing like, "Yeah, you see, all the Eastern Europeans have left you guys. You guys are dead." I'm like, "What are you guys talking about? You realize that we just literally released like yesterday, like Levant's even coming as a special guest."
Based on the card, I can promise you the East is not gone because
Yeah,
I like
Ernest also
yeah,
came up and
100%.
yeah, I mean the East have not left. Well, obviously there's a few that made their decision to pull at GVW, which we'll get in a second. Because that was a whole load of nonsense that they just put out. And this is my channel, I can say anything unofficial. And
There you go.
they put out a whole load of crap. And because this is kind of a casual chat, I'm just gonna try to answer things. Why have that special guest poster? It was designed to make it look like they're having a match. Well, I mean, okay, there was a lot of confusion going around. Everybody's saying, "Oh, they can't believe Levant's pulling down." It's like, I don't know how much clearer can we be. There is a big bold letters at the bottom that says "special guest." I guess we should have put it right in the middle over their face. And okay, so but to answer your question, Bobbert, if that's your name, uh, it was kind of a thing because yesterday we had to clarify a couple of things because Robert feels like uh, we got to address the domain name issue, right? And because it says, oh, we got it back and we should thank Ingrid for it and everything. It's like, no, we didn't get it back. I don't know what he's talking about. And yeah, we thought we were about to get it back, but they have the other party has to click accept, right? So, but we didn't want everything to be negative, right? We want to appear and we want to keep moving forward. And then we thought to ourselves, what is something we could, just announce and make the whole video positive? Well, guess what? Let's cap it with everything's moved over and there's a special guest. And this is a very good signal to start off the whole event. Because if you think about it, right, Henry, during the whole drama for the past 2 months, Levant has said nothing.
Yeah, he has, in my opinion, very wisely remained silent.
Correct. And so by having this is really he's like the pinnacle of arm wrestling, right? The other one would probably achieve the same kind of level of influence. I'd say it's John Bazing, right? But now we got the current GOAT in weight GOAT, right? I mean, it's just weight, power GOAT, right? No,
well, he's the current super heavyweight champion.
Yeah. And this is just a very good way to show that Swiss would be technically the first unification type event type level, right? So we have a lot more crazy things they were announcing pretty shortly. It's going to be awesome. And here's the couple of things that we are also doing differently in our effort to try and get more community support, right? I'm all for community. I'm not gonna hog all the limelight. I actually have more like partner with several influencers. Henry is one of them, where on their personal channel, and we'll also announce with their link at a certain time of this upcoming week, they will be the first to announce one match that will be happening in Switzerland. So they will be the first to premiere that one particular match. So you got to stay tuned for that. Most of them will happen around Thursday and Friday. The earlier in the week, we'll have Robert and Robert personally announcing it on our official channel, and then there'll be we have quite a number of title matches this time. So stay tuned. Henry already knows which match he's announcing. So
now, can I share the one half of that I wanted to share publicly? Why not? You want to say yes. All right. I will be announcing Philip Larson's next match, but I won't say the other side of it right now. You got to tune in. But yeah, Philip Larson's next match, it will be at this next event. he just absolutely demolished Matt Mask in dominating fashion, despite people doubting him. And now he will have another test that I think a lot of people will doubt him again, and I think he's going to shock a lot of people again. So it should be very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So for this question, Mike, yes, I'm trying to start incorporating some, people outside of our personal official channel. And it's, you think about it, it's multiplication through division, right? All the influencers and content creators who are disseminating this information, they are not compensated by EVW in any means, nor have they paid for this. I would say this would it be arrogant to say privilege to announce that? No, no, no. It's I want to help everybody, like these guys, to grow their own personal channel, right? And when they start seeing more and more, growth in their personal channel, then it makes sense for them to be full time, more spending more time creating good contents because there is a good ROI on their time. So there is that. Um, Aussie. Well, we haven't really discussed that as of right now. We do have a few that we will cycle around. Uh, I mean, like Ben Holden is on that list right now. We, Neil was like, we gotta bring him back. We gotta see how he works with us, and like that guy, comments all around that was positive around him. So he's now on that rotational list, along with Ray, Travis. I had a conversation with Ryan Bowen prior to him accepting his match. And I don't fault him for that. It was a decision that he picked. And one of it was how he got led to the decision was Chetna being, I think his partner, getting an invite to pull at a super match outside of India. So she's been always gunning for one. And because EVW has not offered her anything, I'd say for her, it's understandable that from her personal level, she takes it, sure. And Ryan travels with her. But I did tell him like it's not good optics because the only official league that EVW does not support or does not agree with, at least, sometimes we don't support every league out there, but it's more like hostile. There's a little bit of hostility. It's GVW because of what they have done and how it was born. And there are
And
a
they
lot of
also are so clearly ripping you guys off. I mean, just from the very name, it's pretty clear who they're trying to compete with.
Correct. I mean, like, did you guys see that passive aggressive message that they put out the other? Was it 2 days ago? It was saying things like, "Oh yeah, EVW is gonna only have 4 events and 6 matches a year." Uh, you know, I'm like, dude, what? So our Swiss partners, they were all freaking out. It's like, wait, is EVW taking a step back? And one was like, no, we've never said it. The only time Robert has mentioned this was to Ingen, and he was saying something like, I wonder if 6 weeks is too short. Do we need maybe 2 months gap? So that was the only thing that kind of Robert mentioned to Ingen, and I don't know how. Maybe it's not Ingen. Maybe I don't know. Roman, who works for GVW, is making things up again. I don't know. Right? Not accusing of anything, but all I'm saying is completely factually wrong. We have no sense in buying 2 companies, King of the Table and East versus West, to revert back to only 4 matches. Absolutely dumb. We might cut back like this year because we skipped Baku, technically rated down to 7 instead of 8. But 4 and 6 matches, I don't know what kind of nonsense they're spouting out. But yeah, so kind of spoke to Ryan Bowen about that. And I told him, like, for in optics, it's not like I don't like you. I just think from the optics standpoint, we can't have you commentate in Switzerland, or I don't know, at least I just mentioned Switzerland. I don't know about anything about the future, but that's kind of what I told him. He understood it. We left amicably. And I don't want it to seem like it's, well, I guess this is the pathway for EVW to start blacklisting things. But like Robert says, there are certain lines we have to draw, right? I mean, there's only so much people. Like, matter of fact, I do know right now on our YouTube channel, Henry, we have 3 or 4 people that are banned from the channel, and one of them is your fake account.
I appreciate it.
I think the other one was, and it wasn't banned by me, by the way. It's banned by the mods, because when I'm doing this, I don't have time to ban stuff. But the other one would be, I think, like they're mostly impersonators. They're mostly impersonators.
Uh-huh.
We know we're impersonators. So there's that. But Henry's gonna smoke me. Henry's gonna smoke me. I don't know what you're gonna say.
Well, Dexter, I don't think has ever really arm wrestled that much, but you are getting into it now, right? So
Yeah. I bought a, I try to do what I can with how much time I
problem
have.
is like you gotta have a table like in your room.
That's true.
That's how you win right there. You just gotta like live with the table.
Well, I've like so the 2 columns on my table, I have straps
Uh-huh.
of different weight, so I can just do this. Now
There
I'm
you
on my
go.
podcast table, so I don't have it here, but yeah,
Okay.
I do have that. Nice. Haven't seen Neil outside of the event. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's a mixed thing, honestly. I mean, there was a comment yesterday that cracked me up. It's like, enough about arm wrestling. I just want to hear about the drama." But
Damn,
we can
you are
try and
like
boost.
way behind on the messages there, Dexter.
Yeah, that's yeah, not happening. Not happening. Not apologizing for something we didn't do.
Yeah,
Link.
so if Engen sticks to that, he'll never compete again, right? Because you will never apologize, and I think here's the thing: you're stubborn enough to never apologize because you believe you're in the right, and I'm not saying you're not. I'm just saying that's the fact. And he is stubborn enough to never compete because he said he would never compete unless you apologize. So
Okay,
I think we're at a standstill here with an immovable force and a unstoppable or a immovable object and an unstoppable force. So I don't think Engen's ever going to compete again.
well, I mean, if you want to get there, he has a lot more to apologize to me. He has a lot more to apologize to Devin. I mean, the fact that he wanted Devin hurt and never apologized for that.
Mm-hmm. I'm
Why
not
don't you
saying
apologize to Devin, and why don't you apologize to me of what he was intending to do to me? Did you know what he was intending to do to me?
yeah, you told me.
Right. So
Yeah.
right? That crazy nut, and it's my channel. I can say whatever I want, but I have on good account. So here's what went down in Baku. Oh, sorry, not Baku. In Chicago. I was sensing something on social media, and I was getting reads from the European that something was off. I think after like the 3rd match or so, I dragged Robert into a private room. Right, it was just me and him, and I says, "All right, something's going down. I don't like this. I'm not getting paid at all for East versus West. On my day job requires a pristine type of reputation, right? If I'm brokering deals, they know that I'm a guy who says what I mean, right, and mean what I say, kind of thing, kind of deal, right? And I will take actions on what I said." And he was like, "Oh, so what are you trying to imply?" It's like, look, okay, I know for a fact that there are bigger guys at play at the back, namely Ingen Terzi, who is telling the athletes, uh, you know, pointing out crazy things about me, and they have done so. Okay. And then you can see people like athletes even attacking me and everything. Matter of fact, I wasn't even on the floor when the blackout happened. I was still in the private room. And I kind of look, Robert, I think a lot of this issue is also stem from that the athletes, the European athletes especially, actually all athletes, does not know that Ingen no longer owns any part of the company. And if they know that truth, then they'll know that technically, why are they listening to Ingen? Right? And I kind of clarified this in the past, right? We know that he doesn't have that. And so even in the early days after Colorado, Chicago, he says no, 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 I am, and like eventually now you'll see that Ingen has not said a single thing about this about ownership because that's completely not true. And you see that he stopped refuting that comment. So I kind of told like Robert, like, look, right, you know what? You know, kind of two things. Accept my resignation. I'm out. Not a big deal. I'll just move on. Cheer you on the sidelines. Or we gotta kind of make big bold steps because he's actively damaging the league, and I will not go to Baku. Matter of fact, I don't feel safe in Baku. Right? I just knowing what I know, I don't feel safe in Baku.
Mm-hmm.
So I told Robert like, but you feel free to go ahead with Baku because I know that they're you know everything's ready, but we never got confirmation because that person Elmar never communicated directly with Robert for over 2 months. For over 2 months, there was no direct communication. Robert would ask a question, and he would ghost Robert, right? And the answer will go to Ingrid. So for the final 10 days, it's long enough where, like Matt Rhodes says, he's in Russia. They have great internet there. There's no
Mm-hmm.
sense in not responding in 10 days. So it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense, right? So
There's
we didn't want to
nowhere in
play
the
that
world
game.
where you can't
We
respond to a
know for
text
a
for that
fact
long.
that it was a ploy to, you know, hey, I'm leaving because it's always the same pattern, right? It's always the same pattern. If you don't do this, I'll quit, and or he quits, and then it's like, oh, Robert will go back there. Hey, guy, hey, you know what? We really need you. Don't do this. We'll try to do better and whatever. And then he comes back, all high and mighty, and then now our turn. We have to keep like, oh, okay, whatever. But that's Robert. But for me, now I apologize, right? I've heard that Ingen is the lightweight goat, right? John's the overall goat. So I'm like, but for a new guy who has very little historical bias built into me, I just look at everybody, right, even Devin included, as just another guy, just another guy. If you don't treat me with respect, I don't feel like I have to beg you for it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like, okay, you quit. Not my problem. You quit. I didn't force you. So finally, I told Roberts like, look, this guy's playing a lot of games. We gotta shut this down. We gotta shut this down. Move forward. And then, back even in Arlington, we had conversations with Neil and Brian and whatnot about potentially having a collaboration. And then Devin came like, hey, you know what? I think Brian might be interested. Let's put him on a call and get things going. Like, okay, which is what happened, which is what I did. But
Mm-hmm.
you want to hear something crazy though? Uh, I may seem like like not a complete religious man, but I tell you, there was something that told me to tell Robert, let's not go to Baku. And earlier this week, as we were uncovering, we're doing a whole bunch of investigating, uh, from multiple sources, Ingen told them that he was planning on getting everybody around, humiliating me in front of everybody, and if I were to say anything, he would physically assault me.
In what way was he planning to like do that to you though?
Well, for me, I'm not a very big guy, so he used the word punch in the face, punch me in the face, right? And it's not just one guy; multiple guys told me this, and very reputable people. We are talking about like WAF presidents who came forth and told me that. Well, I didn't know that guy was crazy. It's like, yeah, welcome. So we know that this happened, and I mean, so he was planning on doing that in Baku, which is why I told Robert, like, I'm not a fan of Baku. If you want to go ahead, go without me because I'm not going. Right. So there is a lot of that scariness because I personally have witnessed that guy going off the roof. So if he was going around telling people that. Shouldn't he apologize to me first when he named me versus I may have insinuated, may appear to insinuate that it was him, right? I mean,
Uh-huh.
who else have I, on your podcast? Who was I referring as the rat? Not him,
Yeah, it was Roman mostly.
right? Right. So I mean, could be again that there were several people within the organization that had access to a recovery type password thing. So, but I mean, that's that's what I'm saying. Like, apologize. Yeah, you know what? I don't think you're worth apologizing to. When clearly, I don't think I'm wrong. And number two, I think the arm wrestling world can move forward without you pulling. If you're just so high and mighty and things like that, right? I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. What do you think of GVW?
Frankly, I'm going to be honest. The card's awesome. I can't help but acknowledge the fact that they've got some good matches. I will be pirating it. I will be doing a live commentary of me pirating it. But it's a fucking great card. I can't lie. But definitely, like for example, I don't know the whole deal with Bowen being like now that Bowen's there, are you guys not working with Bowen anymore? Because that's a pretty big punch in the face.
Well, I was open and honest. I had a clear conversation with Bowen before he accepted the match. Before he even was offered, before he even knew who his opponent was. It's just for the optics, we can't support that. It'll just look really bad on us, and it will just have other athletes take advantage of us being too lenient. So
Yeah.
hence, I told him ahead of time, and he says he understands it, but he choose to pull versus commentate. So yeah.
So he's never working with East vs West again.
I wouldn't say never. Like I don't like absolutes. I'm not gonna say never. So,
but he's certainly in some trouble. Let's just say.
Again, trouble is really a really strong word. I wouldn't say it's trouble. It's just, he won't be invited to Switzerland.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he won't be invited to Switzerland.
I honestly, here's the thing. I am surprised that Bowen is taking this of all, like, I am Bowen's last supporter when Bowen is in doing something he probably shouldn't do. I'm normally Bowen's last line of defense, but this is definitely one where I'm a little bit scratching my head. I sort of think he'd probably be better off taking a match somewhere else than taking something that like so clearly burns a bridge. But fair enough if he wants to do this, fair enough. But I'm quite surprised that he took that match, especially given the match he actually was offered. Like, I don't actually think it's a particularly winnable match for him. If he does beat Eldar Bubenko, that'd be very impressive. But if he were to just lose, he would have not changed his stock as an arm wrestler at all, and certainly pissed some people off. So I'm a little bit confused by why he would choose to do that. But fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's his choice. I mean, ultimately, I think he's an athlete first before a commentator.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand his perspective. I'm not faulting him for that. I'm just saying from our perspective, as another hostile, league.
There's a guy in chat who just vehemently hates me. By the way, he is just like every message he says is about me. I'm shocked by it. He's also convinced I was born in a very rich family, I guess. I have no clue why. Like, I don't know where he got that idea from, but he seems pretty. Yeah.
I mean, like, I also have a whole bunch of haters too, and it's understandable. We can never make everybody happy. If you're doing something wrong, right, at your expense. December, it's still up in the air. Still up in the air. We'll announce it as when we can. I think currently we're thinking it's December 13th. Not confirmed. Don't take my word for it. It's not confirmed. Info, but GVW can't compete at EVW True at all. Not speaking of Zao specifically, but in general, Robert wants to do sort of like a one-time pass to all athletes prior to us announcing that Ingen's departure is finalized. So those that have accepted prior to that, kind of, it's okay. obviously not ideal, but it was a whole bunch of a messy thing. But we are not banning anybody permanently. So I mean, technically, if Zhao wants to pull, well, maybe invited right after Switzerland potentially. Not not a super hard struggle because here's the thing though, right? And I can say this from a personal level that I have really close interaction, right, with by far one of the top manipulators that I've ever seen in the world. Now, granted, well, I'm not the oldest guy in the room here. Well, I mean, in my room, yeah,
In this room, yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
But you know, there are I've managed crews of thousands of people. I've met thousands and thousands of people. That 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 guy is next level. He's next level manipulation, right? I mean, he would coercion, he would threaten, he would, I mean, manipulate, cause fear. So I can, I'm not, it's very easy to fall for one of his tricks. That's what I'm saying, right? That's why very, very early on, there's very little, it was almost on, it goes in cycles, right? It goes in cycles where one day he'll be super nice to me. All of a sudden, whatever I want, he grants it to me without, And the next day, he quits the group from me, Robert, and between me and Robert, he'll just quit the group. We won't be able to communicate further, and I have to start talking to him via Robert, right? It's such a weird relationship. And to give
When
you an
was the
idea,
last time you spoke with Engen directly?
on a phone,
Yes.
wow, months, months.
I asked that just because I think people wouldn't realize how long it's been.
Let me just pull it up right now. It's just funny. Okay, so the last conversation we had, right? Trying to pull up. It's June 3rd. It was literally June 3rd. That was the last time we like communicated. It was kind of a weird kind of thing because there was arguments about how I think I know what that was. I was thinking, hey, what about if you use Auden for like commentating or doing some interviews, one or two matches? Because I think it was just like a fresh of like a breath of fresh air kind of situation. Like, oh, so somebody new and Auden knows his stuff. I mean, he also lives and breathes arm wrestling, albeit he's a little younger, but you know, and then all of a sudden we got attacks like, you don't know what you're talking about, you know. We have a lot better commentators and everything's like that's not the point. I'm just trying to just he's only doing one or two commentating. If you say no, it's fine, it's not a big deal. But and then he starts attacking. It's like, oh yeah, you're making this into a Larrett show, and this is going after me, and I'm like, whoa, back up. Right. I mean, even the UFC rotates commentators and hosts and whatnot, and he's just going after me like, no, that's not what UFC does. And then he starts telling me, and I know for a fact he Googled all these guys. It's just, you see, even Google tells me this, like, well, we'll back up for a second. If you use ChatGPT, it'll tell you more in depth because not every commentator, had their background in UFC. Some of them came from other sport like boxing, and then they came over.
Mhm.
One of them
Like
even
for
did
the Shaw
boxing.
Classic, there was one guy who didn't know anything, but he was still commentating.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So and then he was like, "You don't know crap. You don't know what you're doing." And then says he quits. Like, okay, well, that's the end of it. So it's a very common thing that he gets all bad at me, and I'm like, okay, whatever, man. I'm not gonna go beg you to go respond to me. Uh, may I think for a lot of people though, super honest, I think a lot of people who knows him kind of feels like, okay, well, he's the GOAT and he's been doing so much. There's no way he's not telling the truth. It can't be. I'm pretty sure he's telling the truth. So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. And they give him a lot of like leeway when things don't make sense. But when certain things happen, like when I think when Camille opened his eyes, he was like, "Oh my goodness, I have been manipulated. I have been coerced. I have been pressured and forced to say what I didn't fully mean and understood at that point." And because of this, like ultimately it's the athlete's fault. But under that circumstance, I mean, I can't really fully put the blame on them, especially when they don't speak English as well. Their English is not their first language. It
Uh huh.
makes it a little bit more challenging to go after them, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. So
It's just a crazy situation, the whole thing.
I know that's
You
why
honestly
Robert and
did
I are
when you got
giving.
into arm wrestling, did you think it would be like this?
Dude, no. I went to 15 and we were in that small ballroom, right? Instead of that theater style. That room was jam packed with people. Energy was off the charts. I remember most of the matches and they were like mind blowing. Uh, and I still clearly remember like Kanai's match with Todd. The
Yeah.
way that he was like shifting his weight around, his legs would be flying from left post to right post, and just doing all sorts of like, dude, I thought arm wrestling was just side pressure. I didn't know anything, right? And
Hmm.
then when he was doing that, I was like, wow, this is super entertaining. I gotta check this out a little bit more. Then I start falling in love
People
with
are
it.
saying a podcast with you and Engen.
Love it. Why don't we do the debate?
Well, I have tried for what it's worth. Every time I've ever asked Dexter to come on, he has always come on, and I've almost never asked him. But during that big stream, he came on, and during that same stream, I was asking uh, Engen to come on, and he wasn't interested at all. So, yeah, for the people in chat, I've definitely tried to get them both on because I thought it would be obviously, fucking ad revenue up the wazoo. That's the truth of it. But it's just not ever come to fruition because Engen doesn't seem to be interested in coming on a live stream. Engen makes videos and he sends stuff out, but he hasn't done a live stream in forever. I mean, he did the one with a couple of people like that was just like purely talking about arm wrestling. But he has not done a single one that was like with let's just say people who are not aligned with him.
Yeah, but I mean, if I'm ever ready and ever happy to jump on a podcast and we'll debate it out civilly, and some guy mutes, unmutes, we do all that. We'll find a mediator to do it. Happy. I'm super happy. I'm super happy to go on a civil debate and just hash everything out, get everything out in the open, right? I might not, and yes, I mean, the biggest attack anybody can do on me is I'm new to the sport, right?
Uh
And
huh.
I know even there's a guy who had a problem with me posing like this, like Dexter, what are you posing like an arm wrestler? You're not an arm wrestler. Like, I mean, sure. I mean, what is it? What was the minimum qualification to be called an arm wrestler? What's the qualification to pose like this? I don't know. So I know there's that kind of level of attack. I won't gain respect from that manner, from the arm wrestling perspective. Never competed. Might never will. Maybe who knows? But I mean, sure, come at me at that standpoint. I don't know a lot of the history between this athlete and that athlete as an issue, yada yada. At the end of the day, uh, I think some Jay Corbin said it best. Any league that supports best versus best is good. Dividing best versus best is bad. I think this is exactly what needs to happen, right? We need to unite literally the best of all arm wrestlers, regardless of where they are in the world, come on and compete. I think that's it, right? Unfortunately, that's not the case. I mean, uh, GBW even released a post saying something along the lines of, "Oh yeah, EVW is for short term good because they're all about money, and GBW is all about long term growth." And I'm like, dude, passive aggressive much, buddy?
Hmm.
Like, try running a league without money. Everything around the walls revolves around money.
Yeah.
If we are losing money at every event, at some point, somebody's gonna throw in the towel and says, "We're done. We can't keep going." Right? That's that's why it's naive for somebody who probably has never worked, at a C-suite level, to think that they can run a company and not look at their balance sheets. Do you know how many companies that I've actually, uh, you know, was thinking of acquiring, and then I'll go to the owner and I says, "All right, can I see your financial statements, your profit and loss sheets, projections, everything?" I'm like, "What are all those?" I'm like, "What?" You know how many people don't understand the difference between cash flow and a profit and loss sheet? It's
Hmm.
two distinct difference. Most people don't know. Most owners actually don't know this, and some of them they are still pretty successful because they have good intuition. But what I'm saying is, it's extremely naive for somebody to say, "Well, we're not in this for the profit. Uh, if it happens, it happens." Yeah, if you don't think about money, you lose track of that. Eventually, you go bankrupt, really. So it's yeah, they can say all what they want. I mean, they want to take digs at us, whatever. I mean, it's fine. We'll just keep pushing forward. They're saying that we're bringing on non-arm wrestlers and whatnot, and alluding that we don't have good guys. Like, do you? How about this? You bring your best champion. We'll do a GVW versus EVW champion. All right, you bring your best 5 guys. We'll bring our best 5 guys. Right? Who do you have? We have Urbis, we have Vitali, we have Levon, we have Devin. The 5th guy. Who's the 5th guy?
Probably
I'm gonna throw
Jerry.
in my buddy right now, my new buddy, Camille. All right.
I'm
I'm just
Camille's not pick number 5 because
no,
unfortunately
I know.
he
I'm
might
just
not do too good against Zaranov. All right,
I'm giving him a
you
shout
gotta
out because
sweep
he's
him. You
he's
gotta
lately
sweep
been
him.
my buddy, right? He's not my buddy, but I think maybe it's probably if you go left, it's probably like Alijan or something, right? But what I'm saying
Well,
is,
it would be Morozov. Morozov. Okay, the
really?
Morozov that faced Vitali would probably beat Alishon.
Maybe you like again. You probably know better, so I won't argue with you, right? uh, but what I'm saying is, let's pick our best 5 versus your best 5. If you lose, actually, we won't do that because we're giving them too much credit.
I see what you're trying to say, though. I see what you're trying to do.
You know what? I think is true, though. I think I know who our 5th guy is. Devin's second hand.
There you go. Put Devin's left arm in there.
Matter of fact, I think Devin can pull all their 5 guys in the same event and not break a sweat.
This is
No,
true.
anyway.
Yeah. I didn't want to respond to one super chat because they were asking. They asked me who I would bet on between Derek and Reichard, and I would probably bet on Reichard. But most people would say really strongly that Derek will lose. But Derek is quietly actually becoming slightly underrated just because he lost really badly a lot of times, but it's to very good guys. So Derek is actually not as bad as some people think. So I would say Derek's probably underrated, but I would bet on Reichard. But I'm not going to bet my life savings on it. Definitely not.
Yeah. Whole bunch of chats here. Would be cool to see Dennis at EVW 20 in some capacity, whether it be a low level match or have him there. Only thing is, most countries can enter Switzerland with no problem, except Russia. So if you want to do this, we gotta plan ahead of time and get them some level of a special entry. So, good thought there. Yeah, you already mentioned this one, Henry Reichert versus. Okay.
Dude, you're 40 minutes back on the chat. It might be better for you to just scroll to the start at this point.
No. Oh, I already did this. Are you in contact? Honestly, I don't know. I'll definitely look it up. We actually
Vovoda's definitely retired, but Dennis is not.
we will have the announcement between Robert and one new person on our matchmaking committee present Vitali's match. And this person speaks Russian. That's all I'm kind of leaking out. So there's that.
Is it Coach Ray?
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. All right, here's another one. GVW was projecting when they said it was in for a quick money grab. Yeah. Yeah. Tell Mr. Gennady don't you want more money? Yeah, he's so King of the Table is sufficient. No, 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 no. We are still figuring things out as we go. We have thoughts of how to utilize King of the Table. Uh, so stay tuned. But no sense in throwing that away because it's valuable. That name still brings something. Don't forget the Strongman Polos, fun to watch. Yeah, we might occasionally throw in here and there. I mean, the goal really is to see more strongmen transition, like how Brian did, into more of a full time thing, right? Here's a good one. Some guidelines would be nice, like as a small event hoster, am I allowed to ask EVW athletes to pull at Finland? There was / is always a scare of getting blacklisted or athletes getting banned. Uh, there are some athletes that have a contract, and that contract will prohibit them from polling outside of EVW. But occasionally, there have been some event organizers who we deem are good partners and have no intentions of, I mean, like just being straight here, right? At some point, we got to draw a line because we got to protect the league. And if everybody's just taking all our athletes and bringing them over to their event, then, I mean, example, right? Though kind of a few big if matches in my head for the next upcoming year would be, say, Devin and Vitali, right? Another one would probably be, say, Devin at a much heavier weight pulling Levant. Those are some of the the massive matches in my head that people absolutely die to watch. Now imagine if they took Levant and Devin and pull at their event. Like that's a huge financial burn on our end, right? Because it's missed opportunity. So we got to protect it somehow. Not every event's pay-per-view varies greatly depending on the matches. And so there'll be events that will be lower, but we always count on certain events to make higher. So it kind of pulls the average up a little bit, right? That's kind of how we expect. We can't have all the good pulls pulling at another event and we only keep the, the lesser type event. So because of this, I'd say don't reach out to the EVW athletes directly. If you'd like, you can always come and approach Robert, mostly Robert, because Robert deals mostly with the athletes. I'm not too much involved with the athletes, obviously. Look at me, right? There's a very good chance that Robert would say no, but doesn't hurt to ask, I would say. There are certain athletes, like, say, Frank Lampanelli. He's pulling at GVW. He's not a contracted athlete, so he's free to pull wherever he is. We understand that. So just check with us. Very happy to can I answer stuff? Why are you talking to this teenager? I think this guy who's always kind of hitting
This is
you
the
up.
guy. He's actually still doing it. Yeah.
He's still doing it.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I'm like
you
30
look.
kids behind.
I'm also proud to announce I'm actually no longer a teenager. I am 20, so I'm no longer. You can't say he's talking to a teenager. At least he's talking to a 20-year-old.
We are talking to Rickard, and I'm that guy's.
Reichert and Phillip, set that shit. Put a 1 in the chat if Reichert and Phillip's a good match. Everybody spam 1. Get Dexter to set Reichert versus Phillip.
Okay, let's see this. Reichert, Bach. Oh man, I am like 25 minutes behind now. Hold on, I'm scrolling super fast. At least make Devin is there. But yeah, Reichert is somebody when I first met him in Chicago, we were at dinner and I was just telling him the story about how he came to be, and I'm sure you guys have heard it from my previous podcast with him. But I like that guy. I like that guy a lot. From a personality standpoint, very humble, but yet still has that fighting spirit kind of thing, right? But also it's a pretty good pull. Very talented guy. Very talented guy. Read paid a yes. So here's this guy, right? Rickard's brother is pretty legit too. Pretty legit. So Federer is Swiss. Am I the enemy of this? No, 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 no. Dude, we really need to get a T-shirt going. Allies of the sport. Yeah, I
Allies
need to
of the
get that going.
sport.
I need to absolutely get that going. That would be. You know Sarah Backman. She has that whole T-shirt that she sells. MAGA, make arm
Yes.
wrestling great again. I'm gonna do one that is just as popular.
There we
Allies
go.
of the sport. It doesn't sound as good. AOTS. Uh, let's see. I really like lies, blunt honesty. I know I have been attacked that I've been too unprofessional, too casual, too relaxed. But that's me. That's my personality. I just here's this one thing that I always live by. If you always strive to tell the truth, you will never lose track of it because there's only one truth, right?
Hmm.
And if you start making things up, sometimes you can't keep track of all what you've said. So that's why I think it's very easy to just be blunt and be honest and just go straight up. And sometimes if I make a mistake, just say, sorry, I made a mistake. Roger Federer, you do have good. He has tennis elbow. I don't think he ever wants to get into arm wrestling.
I'm gonna be honest. We're shooting too high with Roger Federer. We gotta like go a little bit lower first. Let's get some. Let's get some YouTubers.
Or yeah, anybody in Switzerland, like non-arm wrestlers that you think we should bring in? Put it
You
on the
know,
chat.
maybe
Oh,
like people like someone like Kai Cenat. Maybe you know who that is.
nope.
You're
I'm not a
the
Gen
problem
Z.
is you're too old to know who Kai Cenat is, but he's like a really popular content creator that's
Okay.
gone to like he's gone to like stuff like slap events and stuff like random stuff like that. He would be, but I guarantee he charges probably a very big appearance fee. I'm sure, but he would definitely come to something like this if you paid him, and people his types of audience would probably be somewhat interested.
Yeah. Oh, guys, I just remembered something. Guess who I have a meeting with on Tuesday? Think of the pinnacle of combat sport now. Which organization is the pinnacle?
Is it Chael Sonnen?
The UFC. So I've got a meeting with them. We'll see what they say. Maybe
Wait,
they'll
wait,
just
wait.
not
You're
have
meeting with UFC or a guy from UFC?
guys from UFC. So same thing.
Okay. Wait. Now, wait. Hold up. Like from UFC, are we talking the business end or the media end?
I'm trying to think. What's the difference? When you say business,
Like the media end would be someone like Ariel Hawani. The business end would be like someone behind the scenes that people from the public wouldn't know.
I guess both really. They're bringing in a couple of guys that I'm not even aware who's bringing in, going to be joining the meeting. But
Okay.
I'm just thinking it's a good first step, regardless of the outcome. They have eyes on our sport. I'm not saying that anything will materialize after that meeting, but I'm saying at least there's an introduction of sorts. So fun to watch. Devin and Hermes should also be on that show. Oh, I believe Devin and Hermes made up. Everything's good now. Trinity Heat titles. Mystery Man. I like how you think. They're projecting. They're absolutely projecting. Absolutely projecting. These guys are nuts. Yeah, it's just I can't believe all the load of crap that they're talking about. Like GVW saying that, oh yeah, they have non-arm wrestlers pulling and we have serious, pure, hardcore arm wrestlers. I mean, are you trying to say Levon is not an arm wrestler? Hermes is not an arm wrestler. Devin, yes, he's a content creator and an arm wrestler, but it's just full of nonsense. Absolutely nonsense. Travis is by far the best commentator. It's not even close. He has the voice, energy, and personality. The latest commentators are boring like my grandpa. Travis reminds me of Joe Rogan. Sign him. Uh, Again, we're just trying to rotate things around so it's always fresh. Travis has his own fan base, and just like everybody else, there are opinions of every commentator. There's even opinions of me, good and bad. But overall, no, Travis will be invited back for sure, for sure. EVW going public, take 10%. Well, no, not anytime soon. If we do it, it's probably gonna be when we are even 20% of UFC level. Maybe we'll go public. No, I no, that's not happening. Even does. Whenever I see Henry, I wonder why there's Henry naming on my screen. It's a mystery. This guy just can't stop,
This
man.
is the guy. Like he's
This
still
guy can't stop.
he literally is still going. It's impressive.
He's unrelentless. Well, I'm only 14 minutes behind now, so I'm
Now hold
slowly up.
up. He actually just said something remarkable. He said Travis is a loud tool. Even Henry Naring would be better at commentating. Which honestly,
Ooh,
based off what I've heard him say, like that's actually probably one of the
that's
worst insults I've ever read. That's worse than most of the stuff Diabolical Billy cooks up.
the diabolical. Where's that guy? He's probably not awake yet or something, but he should
Yeah.
be on
Also,
anytime soon.
okay. Sorry, I've got some work to do. I gotta head out, but thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it, and have a good stream. See everybody.
Yeah. Absolutely, it's good. It's. I wonder. Interesting idea. We want a live stream with Aussie soon. You got us. Yeah, I mean, happy to have Jake on. Uh, yeah, I mean, if Jake's watching, he send me a message and I'll forward it to you. For your invite link. No biggie. Uh, uh, Again, just to clarify my stance. Now, I've been kind of gone through this with Robert, but feel I'm not trying to do an open invite to go attack EVW. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that people are welcome to share their personal and honest opinion on anything, right? And if that means in a very negative way, sure. I Not everything's ever going to be positive. Not everything. It's you guys are all not lemmings. You guys aren't just like eating up everything. Whatever we kind of spit out. But at some point, there must be some level of civility and respect. Um, just don't make stuff up. Don't put words in our mouth. These kind of things. That's all I'm saying, right? One very common thing with certain channels, right? They kind of sometimes fill in the gap. But again, I get it. It's not the end of the world. But sometimes they kind of fill in the gap by saying certain things like, well, because this happened and that happened, so this is what's going to happen. Like, well, I mean, you can like kind of predict the future, kind of thing. So, or and the filling in the gaps is like trying to like guess what's on our mind and make it look like it's, that's the reality. That's what I kind of don't really enjoy sometimes watching. It's like, I didn't say that. I mean, that's why Arm God's Eternal Arm God edits or whatever. That guy, it's absolutely nuts, right? If you're subscribed to him, unsubscribe because he's an absolute tool. No, Dexters, don't acknowledge them as a league to compete with athletes. Just ignore them and athlete will come back. Yeah, I mean, most athletes have come back. The only thing that we can't do just quite yet, and I use the word yet, because we don't we are not like the UFC where we have the resources to have an event every week. Not yet, at least. And until we get there, we are unable to bring in more, like bring every arm wrestler in the world to come compete at only our event because we just don't have enough events. So at least the ones who have proven themselves. I mean, just throwing it out there. If Richard Borman continues to win 2, maybe 3, I don't know what the exact number is, and he has a really good showing for the next few events, he'll be one of the fastest to be offered a a contract. Just throwing it out there to put so that we can invest more into him and just showing that the sport can grow with new guys, right? S- And then he'll be able to continue and focus on pure training and once he because I know he's still in college, but once he's out of college, he doesn't need to work, but just full-time arm wrestling. And then that's kind of the goal. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I did reveal this. He will be announcing one of the super matches for our event in Switzerland. And there will be a few. So stay tuned. We'll make announcements on a few content creators out there uh, to premiere and live stream the announcement. Shorter, more frequent, it's better. Like honestly, I think Neil's great. He's he's kind of a chameleon a little bit to me. Like I'm not s- really really technical. He- I feel like he's one of those that can adjust to whoever he's commentating with, and I think that's why he's so comfortable in Colorado because he's done this a lot, a lot of times with Ben. So he was able to kind of move in and out to and adjust. Did right. So I'm really huge in like music, and that's why it's really helpful to have uh somebody having a live band accompanying a singer. It's because they can also adjust to the singer. Sometimes the singer goes out of tempo a little bit, just very, very slightly, and they can slowly adjust to kind of match the singer, right? And I think Neil's kind of that guy. When somebody kind of pauses because they have nothing to add, and he'll jump in, right? But if his co-commentator is just going at it, he knows how to back out. So he's one of those kind of flexible kind of guy, uh, and I think that's really useful. And that's also why he's the only one that has first dips and the consistent announcer slash commentator for all our events. Everybody else we kind of rotate him around a little bit. Travis is doing well now that Tyson signed. I mean, that story was so emotional, and I've never met Tyson, but the stories that I've heard about, Travis, totally, totally got my sympathy. Not like he needs it right now because I think they're doing pretty good, but just a stand-up guy, just a stand-up guy to you know remember his roots, and he was very, very, he gave his dad a lot of credit. So kudos to the the Bajan family, I guess. Siren Barrel Show. Yeah, we just kind of claw ourselves out of the whole drama and everything. So we haven't quite gotten to the point of uh, sitting down and actually discussing this with Matt. Because Matt and us kind of briefly discussed this. Very decent potential. I mean, like, can you imagine when Devin pulls Vitali in Siberia? Whoa, whoa, chills. Think about that. So, so there is a that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Um, technically, we have not signed a contract with any commentators or announcers. So there's that. I'm glad that my comment got that crazy. What was your comment? Post that up. I know that was like 15 minutes ago that you made this post, but yeah, uh, set that up. Happy to. Yes, that is correct. That is correct. Gold Star. That is absolutely correct. We could move that, but the only thing is we didn't want it to make it like another EVW event with exact same rules, same format, everything the same, but just having a different name. It was just so confusing. At least in the past, they still had that differentiator of like six matches instead of the best of five or best of seven. So we got to make that. So we need we are matter of fact, I after this podcast, Gold Star, I will have to make a phone call with you to kind of discuss several things. So thank you for being on the show. Every major sport, most of the time, the commentator is more famous than all the athletes. Maybe not all, but most. Travis is not only a good commentator, personality, perfect personality and character. Yeah, the he has his fan base. So again, I know I'm 50 minutes behind, but he's not going anywhere. We are still gonna, issue invites for him to come and be part of EVW. Let's see. Let's see. So much to read. I'm going to read it together. With your backgrounds in mathematics and I assume statistics, are you planning on capturing new metrics that could be value predictors in winning percentage, comeback likelihood, etc.? You're a smart one, Chase. Very, very smart one. I had a meeting with some gambling company, some betting company, and and my goal, right? My goal is to keep pushing someone to pick up arm wrestling as part of the offerings, and I think that would help mainstream. Now, personally, I don't gamble, but I do understand the allure that if I have $50, $100, whatever that amount is, on a match, I will be very, very vested to know what the outcome is at the moment that it's available, which means increase in pay-per-view sales versus waiting a week to find out or watching one of the pirated streams, right? That's kind of my vested interest, my bias interest on why I want to get it done. And one of the things that did mention is helping them figure out the odds. Arm wrestling is a little unique because it's one of the few matches that has uh, a lot less moving parts, right? Because it's just one on one and very little, well, a lot less luck. And right, there's this term is like uh say boxing or MMA. There is still a very, very small percentage that a lighter weight guy could knock out a much heavier weight guy. Because if he lands at the perfect angle, full power, right, on his jaw, he could potentially knock out a guy who's 20 pounds heavier than him, right? So so there's that luck factor. Sometimes you see this guy swinging and all of a sudden one hook lands and knocks his opponent out, even though he was losing for the past, you know, 10 minutes or whatever it is, right? So there is that kind of that unpredictability factor. But in arm wrestling, there is a lot less to play with that. So when you have less variabilities to work on, it the reliance on good data for that will spit out a good odds, it's really, really high. You gotta get really, really good. Because example, right? Let's just say uh, you know, and I was planning on going through all, what are my thoughts for EVW 19, but we'll we'll just be straight up honest. Even internally, we know that Alex and Kodecha's right hand, Alex is at a massive disadvantage. The only way that Alex potentially could have come out of that was if something happened during the left hand that it might be in the form of Devin having an injury, which is very rare, right? I mean, injuries are not very common in arm wrestling, right? And because of that, what would the odds be, right? Let's think about it for a second. What would the odds be for, assuming that this was like a day before the event? Was it a 100 to 1 where you put $100 in and you might have a chance to win $1 or something, right? Right. I mean, so what would the odds be? So we have to be really, really careful because without proper odds, companies will lose their butts off, and then that's the end of arm wrestling and betting. So that's why we're putting all that together. It will be a lengthy process going through the data, which is why I had a phone call with Henry. See what his thoughts are. Let's see. Which Eastern athletes have been honorable throughout this whole situation? Their actions these past few months have made a lot of them seem underhanded. Uh, I mean, there's a lot of athletes. There were a ton of athletes who didn't say anything. They stayed neutral, uh, just because they didn't care. They didn't care for what's happening in drama. They just want to pull. Most athletes, especially in the East and West, they just want to pull. If you ask most athletes, they don't care about the drama. They were kind of roped and dragged into the drama. They were kind of manipulated to go side with one guy or the other. I'll I'll give you a different perspective on how I approach the whole drama situation. Obviously, everybody knows who you know Roman is, right? He was gone. He's one gone, but he wasn't the only employee that we inherited when we purchased the company, right? And obviously, the employees, some of the employee has worked with Ingen for years and years and years, and they spend thousands of hours just talking to him. So when the whole drama, came on, my knee jerk reaction was to, hey, uh, pick a side. Either you're with us, or you're against us, right? Are you with Ingen or are you with us? And that was the kind of knee jerk reaction, but obviously that was the wrong approach, right? I went to the employee and I told him, like, look, buddy, I'm not asking you to pick a side, but I'm asking you one thing is I'm not firing you whatsoever, but I need to know if you're in this to grow the sport, yes or no. And if you are, do you think EVW is the right platform and the right vehicle to move it forward? And if the answer is yes, you're welcome to stay. So it's not about picking sides, right? It's really picking whether or not we want to elevate the sport, push mainstream, and and get us to where like everybody in the world knows that arm wrestling is not about side pressure. There's a whole bunch more to it, and every of the EVW athlete is known in their home country on a widespread level, right? And maybe that's not even their home country. Everywhere they go, they should be superstars, but not all of them are at that level. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to elevate everything. Now, I know some people might say, well, it seems like a clown show. You guys are all about entertainment and everything. But guess what? Right? What are the Eastern Europeans? What is what if the world's favorite pastime? It's watching movies, right? Watching TV shows, watching sports on TV, watching things on a screen. It's entertainment. So anybody who says sports isn't entertaining, I'm like, okay, well, there are two kinds of level. If you want the purest style, well, I guess that's what WAF is for. All the tournaments, that's what it's for, right? But in order to grow it, it needs to be entertaining. So I know there's still going to be a lot of disagreements. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of flack for that. But no. I'm absolutely going to still stay true to the whole situation. I want to push, and just elevate the sport. Uh, congrats! You can almost buy a beer. I'm not sure what this is for me. Lots of ones. Uh, let's see. Oh, sorry, was this? Please, Miss Shagmi Oh, ask Neil. Not sure what that is. Make King of the Table a round robin, small tournament, 48 elites. It fits the name, bring something new. Every event can be different weight class. Potentially, potentially. What we've also found is that there's this one might work. We've actually considered something like that to actually stay true to the King of the Table name as well. It's yeah. I mean, like if you're playing, well, this is a whole different style. This is a completely different style. I wonder how many people would buy a pay per view if it's mostly non how to put it, non like name household name arm wrestlers yet. It's allies of the sport, yeah, allies of the sport. Own, owner or arm. You know what? Everybody who arm wrestles is part owner. Because without you guys, there is no us, and there's no us. There's nobody supporting the athletes full time, at least. We don't know yet. We don't know yet. That's Green. No, no, guys, you got it wrong. It's not Devin. Somebody needs to get one for Jody. She's the hidden owner of. You know, I bet I shouldn't say that. Somebody's gonna cut that and make it into a reel, and then it'll go around, and then I'll get a message on Instagram from that Eternal Grip Arms nonsense guy and says, "You see, you admitted it." That's so nonsense. I kind of know this. Conor McGregor. Yeah, Conor McGregor is a good hype guy. That's what we need. We need more of. I mean, this past event in Colorado, so many hype. You saw the press conference, so smooth. Most everybody spoke English. Banters going back and forth, jokes on Philip wearing that big hat. It was also natural. Also natural. I love it. Bring in the rampage. Most podcasters are boring as hell. The problem with most of them is that they're too polished. What they should be focused on is building their characters in entertainment, because entertainment is number one. Delta Dog, where are you from? Are you from the east or from the west, or just what country? Just curious, because it seems like that's what a Western guy would say. But I would really love to see if that kind of mentality is also migrating into the east. I like Ben Holden. Yeah, Ben Holden is great. Here's what I'm saying, right? Not everything. No, we don't need two commentators going play by play, and they're just going to be talking over one another, right? I've seen commentators for other sports. I've seen where they do something really funny, where they literally put one person in the commentator's booth that actually doesn't know very much, or they barely know about well, that particular sport. And so that person is asking very, very, very basic questions like, wait, just what just happened there? That looks like a pin to me. And the commentator, the other professional commentator, was like, no, no, no. You see that? When they put the arms down diagonally this way, that's a foul. And two foul, you know, is it's a point. Right. I was like, oh, okay, okay, that makes sense. But I thought this, what about this? What about this? Or whatever, right? And so really what this really does is it's asking questions. That's this kind of like new person is asking good questions, which is very relatable to new people who've never really seen the sport, right? So I've seen that happen as well. So I mean, Auden does not know his stuff. I've sat down. I've actually recorded a podcast that with him in person when he was at my place. I haven't really released it yet. I'm saving it for when I'm going on a extended vacation, and when I'm too busy to kind of do a live. That's what I'll be doing. Dexter, what do you think of Matt Rhodes and the Siberian Power featuring Vitaly and Devin? Matt says he can get a visa there. Oh yeah, I actually did mention this. So thank you for kind of all me reading your mind. Henry Mavic play League of Legends, that inferior game. Uh, Dunk Tai is a good guy. Yeah, I was driving home early today from church, and I briefly caught Matt's podcast. Well, yeah, live stream and Dunk Tai was on it. So yeah, maybe I should get to know Dunk Tai a little bit more. He has you have a pretty good sense in what's happening too. So yeah, let's see. How exactly are rankings made worldwide? That's a good question. Right now, we're not doing anything worldwide. We're using, I don't know if we've released it yet. I think we're on the process of releasing the updated one. Here's another goal that I want to do is after every event, we'll update the rankings for every weight category, every arm, every gender. Well, two genders, right? So that's another project that I'm going to be working on the next however. But and again, everybody go through the rule set. If there's a typo, if there is any grammatical errors, if there is something that you think we're missing, shoot me an email because I would really love to kind of update them to as clean as possible. So, as somebody mentioned today on one of the comments that I try to take as much time to read is uh, the process of a ref script. So, that was a pretty good one. So I'm going to update that. It's not a rule change to clarify. It's not a rule change. It's just making things a little bit more clearer. That's all. Yep, that's exactly. So we'll do that. We will do that. Yes, sir. EBW Sports is the one and true only website now. Do you play WoW? Assuming it's World of Warcraft. What do you think, buddy? Uh, I used to, but I just absolutely can't play games that are grindy. I just don't have time. I like games where I can go in. It's like a repeatable game that resets. So like, I mean, technically chess would be one of them, but you know, just those kind of games. Repeatable, go one time. When I get good at it, it's like riding a bike. I can just go back in and just still be good at it. Whereas WoW is like every expansion comes out, and then the next every new expansion, your gear gets weaker, and then you have to keep grinding and grinding and grinding. And then you have to join a guild, be part of raids, and you start missing things out. You won't be able to collect any of your gear. So, nah, that's not happening. I can't play RPG type games anymore. All right, here's a good one. I have 2 points of feedback. I want to propose doing away with grip negotiating. Just start with rest grips. Second is more Ayane Takenaka. Did you know she's starting arm wrestling at 10 years? Okay, guys. Okay, DJ, were you the one who married a Japanese lady? I have started talking to Ayane. We are working at time where I'm gonna be doing a podcast with her. So stay tuned. I'm also curious myself because I actually watched her match, and just like I don't know if this is an Asian thing to be honest, but I think the lack of experience is very evident in one manner, right? And you know what that is? I think intentional fouls. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm the new guy, but hear me out. Just like again, maybe a little bit biased that I pay I pay attention to the new guys like Recurd and one of it was Valen, right? And if you see Ayane's match, every time because she was fast, right? She was fast, and there were times where when she was faster, her opponent would file out, and it is to me, right? She would file out instead of taking a loss. But when then she got a slower start, she just fought it from an on a losing position and eventually got pinned. If she would have filed out the same way and almost like it's another life, like when you play games, it's like another life where you could just reset but you have one file which resets after every point anyway. I think that's kind of what Vaden also lost to. Now, not to take away credit from Hunter and Offs, which is very strong. But I'm just saying, like, match could have gone either way. But for the most part, Ayane like foul out every time she was, she had a slower start. Match could have gone another way because she had a strong lead at the beginning. So I'm actually pretty excited to see her back on a little bit. Uh, well, I guess I've been playing a little bit more because of Schoolboy, Zhao, and Kalinichenko. Dexter is a thing for it. Nah, don't get me into trouble with my wife, buddy. Just say go. Is Devon's break more or less than 6 months? Much less than 6 months, Mr. Vitali. Uh, very likely he will pull in December. So he's technically only taking like one event break. So very good chance he'll pull in December. Let's see. Oberst confirmed that right before he went on the stage, there were close to 70,000 people watching the pay per view. It has to be a new record for EVW, right? Here's what I'll say, and I'll say this again and again. I will not disclose pay per view numbers to outsiders. It's one of the very personal things that, you know, I know everybody's talking about transparency, but there's just certain things in life that we will never will not disclose, at least right now, until maybe we become a public company, then we have to disclose it. But until such time, there's really no game to tell people what our pay-per-view numbers are. So I'm gonna put a lid on that one. Let's see. Devin Vitali in Siberia gives me Rocky Tree vibes. Yeah, I think that's gonna be a really good one, especially Devin's going to like Vitali's hometown essentially, right? The other one would be pretty cool is Lavon versus Devin in Canada. That's gonna be a good one. So, yeah, King of the Table could be a tournament-based format. It could be actually a King of the Table type style as well. Who knows? Um, this is another good one. We have considered that King of the Table to be mostly about the casual arm wrestlers versus the extreme hardcore guys. We don't know. Um, arm wrestling has we actually went to bar stools like Drew, me. Well, Drew and Devin was on the show, and I was backstage, kind of directing and producing a little bit with the Barstools team. But yeah, we're at Barstools. Top eight. I haven't really thought about top eight yet. I mean, the other one that was thrown around was a team type event. So now that would be a real true East versus West, right? We assign, I don't know, a team captain. The team captain doesn't necessarily need to pull, but it could be like Levon picking the East and Devin picking the West, and it's a 5-on-5, five different weight class, and they go at it, right? We'll just pick. We just tell them what the weight categories are, and they figure out who they're bringing. That would be something. Yeah, well, I just thought about that myself. Um, Devin. Oh, I'm gonna put that up there. Yep, that's right. It does bring more eyes, bring more money. Anytime there is a betting company involved, they usually bring a lot of money with them. What stats can you record? So most of the stats, like there's this thing, somebody pointed out about math. We don't know what stats matter. Example, right? Say a home, right? You're trying to sell a home, right? And there are a couple of stats that are like everybody knows matters. Square footage. You have numbers of bedroom, bathroom, uh, garage sizes, how big, how old is it? Right? There's a whole bunch of stats that you literally could put down, right? All the way to, well, is your house carpeted? Is it tiled? There's so many stats you could put in, like how many windows you have, for instance, right? But how do you know which stat actually matters when it comes to the value of a home being sold, right? they use something like a linear regression type system where the computer will run all this the simulation. Well, it will run and try to figure out uh which factor or which information contributes to the final value of a home. Example, per square foot, it's every square foot it's multiplied by $150. Okay. And for every bedroom beyond two, it's another $20,000. And then for every mile further away from the airport, it's a minus $5 per mile, right? So I'm just saying there's so many factors. Now, when it comes to arm wrestling, it's very similar, right? There are so many stats, right? How long of a pull, right? Endurance level, right? Time of day, right? We can talk about uh I know what style he goes on. When was his last super match duration, and what happened then? So there's like almost not infinite amount, but like there's the potentially, if I want to list down, I can go 1,000 different ways, 1,000 different possibilities to figure something out, right? However, obviously that's not possible because capturing all that data is going to be impossible. So then you start narrowing it down to determine which stats matters, right? Which stats matters. So I don't know that yet until we collected all the data, and then I run through my system, a regression system, and figure out which stats matters, and then I can properly help betting companies figure out which well and help build an algorithm to determine what the odds are for the matches. Because the last thing you want is, it giving a really terrible odds and the company loses a ton of money. So there's that. Reno is on fire. Yes, he was. Yes. I have actually considered because here in Utah, we have a ton of Polynesians, tons of Polynesians, and they're naturally giftedly big. Lots of potential there. The other one that we briefly talked to was with some NFL athletes. So they would be a big collaboration for NFL athletes who have retired. I have a few several meetings with them. These guys are massive. So matter of fact, I think we are soon we'll release a collaboration video with the Diesel brothers. If you don't know who they are, crazy awesome guys. I think AVD and Diesel Dave. And joining us then was also, I think, one or two NFL players as well. So you'll see them in the background. You'll see Devin pulling a machine. So stay tuned. That will be coming up pretty shortly. Yeah, I'm super way behind. I'm reading something from 10:13, so 23 minutes ago. Devin versus the Wool. I mean, the East will lose their minds. Absolutely lose their minds. Because sometimes, it's kind of lost in translation. But if they knew it was a joke, then we'd be fine. Please continue to do Sunday night fire chats. This is the way to end the weekend. Yeah, it was just that we had a message that came through my desk, and I had to confirm several things with Robert. That have we actually told anybody that we would? It was news to me. I knew it was not true. Have we actually said that we were only doing 4 matches and 4 events a year and 6 matches? And he was like, "What? No, absolutely no." So you got to clarify that. It's like, I don't make another post about this just to clarify one small component. I mean, there's a lot of things that we need to clarify, and this was one of them. So I felt, okay, you know what? Just do a chat, but maybe I'll do a Sunday night fire night site of Sunday night fireside chat. Okay. Let's see. A 5-match world championship might be cool for Hawaii. I mean, I love Hawaii. I've been there several times. Great buddies there. Love it. It's It's almost as close to home. Only thing is, it's not on the mainland, so it's hard to do a little bit business. But yeah, I mean, it feels like half of Hawaii is full of Polynesians and Asians, so I feel at home. Not gonna lie, love that place. If we can do an event there, that would be amazing. Only thing, it's pretty far away from the. Is it pretty far from the east? Technically, it's very close to the east, actually. Um, let's see. I've heard Berzing do some commentating. He's actually really good. So yeah, so in Arlington, I actually kind of pulled him, and I kind of told him, like, "Hey, uh, I don't think you ever leave because would you be interested in commentating?" And he said yes. So that's uh that's something you do. The website, I think changing domains and everything, our website could be kind of behind. I hope everybody by now should know my email is dexter@evwsports.com. Don't spam me. I'll block you. But yeah, just hit me up. I'll forward it to the right people if you um, to get any of your questions answered. I mean, you know, certain things that I'm doing might seem very unintuitive, very new, but my goal is to, multiply through, dividing some of the work, giving some other people credit, and just like the announcement that I'm having other content creators do. So even other leagues, I understand that we don't have the capability of hosting all matches. So go for it. Go for it. Have, those matches, and if you want to do some sort of co-branding thing, yeah, we'll we'll s- we'll we'll do something with you. So matter of fact, I think today is the day that the Singapore Open registration is open. Uh, and go check them out. Singapore. I don't know what the website is. If anybody knows, just put it on the channel. I'll forward it. I'll share it to everybody. But yeah, so happy to support. You know, arm wrestles around. The one thing that I want to just clarify, we are still WAF affiliated. Now, not all our rules are exactly what WAF does because it's tournament style versus super match style. But try to we got to be really careful in partnering with EFA affiliate tournaments. So that would get us in trouble. So we are friends of WAF. So keep that in mind. What if King of the Table was eventually an EVW qualifier and EVW was exclusive title shots? Then title holders can also have a caught match without belt, but he has to allow a rematch at EVW. Yeah, potentially. Potentially that there's a lot of good things going around. The one thing I'll say though, EVW does have, well, East versus West does have a higher branding. So it's a little bit more challenging to be profitable using the COD name. So let's see. Oh yeah, because I'm behind. I'm behind. Apparently, Jody's here. If it's not a uh, uh, impersonator, but shoot, now everybody knows. I did tell a lot of things, so I'm not sure what you're saying, but I'm pretty sure it's about when you're the owner. Let's see. Oh man, Jody exposed. This is Jody. Jody in the chat. Oh, it's blowing up. You guys got me. That was 20 minutes ago. Man, I need somebody to help me start filtering this for finding questions. Put those elbows down, Dexter. Yeah, I know. Oh. He was way behind the chat. Won't see Jody in a while. Thank you, sir. Yeah, maybe we should have you on the chat sometime. I usually try to wrap things up before the 2 hour mark. You know why? Because there is a system within. I use StreamYard for everybody who's wondering. And oh, you know what? Maybe I'll share a referral link. How about that? You guys can have a discount anyway. And so what that does is they have a system where if the entire stream is under 2 hours. It auto generates using AI clips, bits, and pieces to allow you know a shortened version for vertical format. So that's why it's 2 hours. So I'm gonna try to skim through everything. I don't want to go too long. I feel people do have some. It's people need to sleep for tomorrow. I also need to start winding down a little bit. Let's see. Wow. Running fouls will eliminate intentional fouls, but running fouls will cause confusion, in my opinion. Like, the, it's been debated quite a bit, and right now, Luke Luke Pulcher, our hit ref, even before Chicago was like Colorado's event, he had all the the refs, all four of them. They sat in a room. They went through a discussion, a training, updates. With several things like the new flag rule, the watching the monitor. There's always a third ref watching the monitors at all times, right? So there's a lot of training involved. And when all these refs who usually are affiliated to some professional organization like WAF, they've been so trained for years and years. They've been so trained to watch and ref in a certain way. And now you tell them, oh, by the way, uh, you got to do this. It's a running foul. It's going to confuse them, and then the mistakes will happen. So I'm not making excuses for the refs, but I'm just I sympathize with them that it's not something to just flip a switch. Now, I give you another example, right? For all you guys out, keyboard warriors, why don't you? It's like coming to work one day and your entire keyboard and all the letters are all in a different place right now. You can still type, but it's gonna take you a lot longer, and you're gonna be making a whole bunch of typos, right? It's just one of those because they've been so used to a keyboard. Now you're telling them that, well, by the way, don't use this keyboard, use something else, don't use a quarter, right? It's that's so. Just so you know, it's a challenge there, and that's what we understand. Here's what is this? Oh, geez, this guy is like this close of being like, well, no, I'll just let him be. You know what? He's just helping my algorithm to go up with all these engagements. So keep at it. Keep going, X. You're nuts. Should have recognized him a little bit. Deliberate fouls in a losing position is lost, not a restart, like Levon did against Hermes. Hermes deserved the pin, but Levon chose to foul instead. There's a lot of debate with that. I mean, I think at WAF level, it is a foul. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've never competed at WAF, so I just want to clarify that. But at the same time, it's still we we don't want a match to be all about fouls, and it's gonna be boring and like it's a super match. We want we want to show. Now, obviously, there is a balance, right? We want to be entertaining, yet at the same time, stay true to its nature, so that there is a balance. There is that thing, right? The two athlete consent. There is that still on the review, still on the review. So let's see. I got about 7 minutes. She didn't understand the rules because of translation. Yes, my wife is from Japan. I can't wait to see her on a podcast. I love her. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so there is that. And hopefully, so by the way, my goal okay, maybe this is a shout out to the whole arm wrestling community. Uh I want our rules to be translated to as many languages as possible out there. Okay, not this. It's right now the language that we are next gonna be published is will for the rule set is the Russian language. Okay, there is a good argument that we should also do it in right potentially Polish, Georgian, and Japanese. So if you guys want to help with that translational work, I would welcome you with open arms. Uh, yeah. So that's a good point because EVW is really a global sport, and we should keep it as such. And I really want to be open and transparent. Get rid of the applause button in PPV chat. Bugs the crap out of chat me. Makes it flash white. Oh, something to consider. I'm scrolling super fast. Hmm. The good middle ground between East and West. Not gonna lie, but it's probably very expensive too. Have you been there? Like, everything costs a lot more. Especially all these athletes, they love milk. That's really expensive. If every arm wrestler and every fan petition the Olympics to bring in arm wrestling, that might work. So, uh, yeah, I'm gonna call out right now. I'm gonna be, and if this goes past 2 hours, so be it. But I'm gonna say this right now. Very disappointed with the Malaysian Arm Wrestling Federation or association or whoever that is, because we were informed a couple months ago that Malaysia was very favorable to voting back to WAF. Okay, and what happened was, uh, I got, everything lined out. I had Malaysian top right overall champion Mike Ford coming with me, with the president of the Arm Wrestling Federation in Malaysia to go meet with the Minister of Sports to get, to see how we can partner better, right, with our global resources and giving more attention to my home country. And we had conversations. And when I got there, I was ghosted by the Arm Wrestling Federation president, uh, because, from my understanding, this said person is a good friend of Ingen Terzi, and we all know how that whole relationship ended, right? So obviously he's partnered with his buddy, and you can see him commentating on our channel sometimes. I'm blocked on Ingen's Facebook, so I can't see it, but a lot of athletes have actually screenshot it and sent it to me. Southeast Asian athletes, Malaysian, some of them Malaysian. They send it. See, here's what your buddy is doing, calling me out, and in support of Ingen. So because of that, Malaysia, a couple of weeks ago, they had their nationals and they voted to stay in IFA, which is very, very disappointing, because which means that my own home country is not eligible to host an East versus West event. And it feels like it was done out of spite. It's very sad, very, very extremely sad. But guess what? A third of my family, my extended family, uh, they are from Singapore. So I'm going to go all out to support Singapore, who is WAF affiliated. I'm going to show what Malaysia is missing out, right? From not, from just simply ghosting. They wouldn't even have a conversation with me. All of a sudden, it was silence, nada. No, no. And then I hear them attacking me from behind, which is absolutely ridiculous. So, well, if they want to stay in their little, for those that understand Malay, kata di bawah tempurung, what that means is like a frog underneath like a shell kind of thing, like thinking, not knowing what's outside. Then go ahead. I mean, like, it's absolutely nuts. It's I just can't fathom this thing, right? If they truly had a misunderstanding of sorts, or they just had concerns about Ingen leaving the league and this being a joke, then at least have conversation with me, or just share it with me. But no, I would call him out. Zil from Malaysia, the president, ghosted me, and I'm hearing that he's talking bad behind my back, even though he's never met me in person, and he's Ingen's guy. So these kind of stupid things to me, right? It just shows that somebody is so hateful, that he's willing to tear down his own house that he built but he sold, just because he's upset about several different things that he will tear down and try to pull down the whole arm wrestling sport. Really, I I might get a phone call from Robert later. Like, why did I say certain things like this? Why am I revealing things that it's that could anger Ingen a little bit more? But like, frankly, you know, I spent the first almost 2 months after Chicago biting my tongue. Well, actually, not 2 months. I've been biting my tongue about what Ingen has been doing for the longest time, and because I truly felt like at that time he Robert and and his relations with Ingen was important enough to me that I have to, you know, try to peacefully resolve everything. If peace is the way to move forward, and if at the cost of me biting my own tongue, sure, I don't mind doing it, right? I will do it for the greater good of the sport, right? I even agreed, like initially, my gut feeling, like I told you at the beginning of the podcast, I was going to be very careful, uh, about how we go about in Chicago. But one thing was for sure, I was willing to leave the sport, and Robert is happy to, and Robert can take Ingrid back, no problem. I have no problem. I'll step back for the greater good of the sport. I'll resign and Ingen can come back. But I'm not working with Ingen again, right? That's kind of how it also played out, right? And Robert says, no, let's discuss this. We'll try to make it work. And so I did. I just kept my mouth shut. But know that I've kept my mouth shut for a really long time, and it was to the detriment to the whole entire arm wrestling community. Like, what did we see? We went through 2 months of like fighting between the East and West, and the Eastern athlete had no clue what was happening. They were being fed wrong information, misinformation. They were making things up. Well, Inga was making things up to the Eastern athletes. We know that for a fact. We know that for a fact. We have all the Eastern athletes who came back. They were the ones who were instrumental in. Well, I'll tell you for a fact though, like Kalinichenko and Camille, who was one of the loudest, you know, proponent against us at the early days. They were the ones who were the first to realize that they were being fed a whole bunch of bullocks, and then they were like, "Man, I made a mistake. I need to rectify this." So then they were kind of like our now it's out. The cat's out of the bag. So they were our inside guy feeding us like, hey, by the way, this is what's happening. This is what Ingen's telling all the athletes. He's pressuring all the athletes to do certain things, right? We have now everything's obviously a hearsay with screenshots that were sent to me, but for the trust of everybody, I will never ever share a screenshot publicly of any of our conversations, nor of an audio recording publicly, because I want you to trust that when you're talking to me, it's always in confidence. Okay, so there's that. So don't even try to get that out from me. But what I'll say is this though, right? So the Europeans were being fed a whole bunch of nonsense, right? A whole bunch of scare tactics that they would employ, saying that, oh, Devon's an owner at one point, and Devon's gonna change all the rules. Like, dude, like Devon has been pulling for you for almost 4 years. Like, are you saying that you've always allowed him to change the rules or not? Because the problems always existed. So either way, I know he threatened to physically assault me. I'm gonna, sure enough, when we are picking the next venue, it's gonna be only at countries where I feel safe and we have good partners. Like, I have no doubt in my mind that the Swiss guys are our super partners, and they're not gonna do anything crazy. Uh, you know, they are not gonna. They are actually good supporters of ours and good friends of ours. So I'm pretty safe there, right? And but man, I mean, this is this is like nuts. If you know what Robert and I had to go through, like we have a lot of athletes. When in Chicago in the green room, we had Paul Lynn who was like, "Oh, you guys need to try one more time with Inga, and you guys need to try it. He's a great guy and everything." I'm like, Robert's like, dude, we've tried. we've really, really tried. We've tried a lot. And even, there'll be days where Robert would be so stressed. He'd come back like, man, Ingen's doing this again. He's acting up. I gotta talk to him for another 3 to 6 hours a day. If Robert don't spend, around 3 to 6 hours a day talking to Ingen will go off on a tangent and gets angry with somebody, Devin, me, or even Robert himself. So it's a very kind of a tired kind of relationship. It's just really tight, a really really tight relationship. But I don't mean to come on here and just talk bad about anybody, but I hope everybody realized that, man, what GVW is doing, what's happening with Ingen and his videos, it's really really tiring. It's really really tiring. I wish that we can just move on. He just trains and comes back as an athlete, because all I'm hearing is this guy who's so good, the lightweight goat of all time, but I've never seen him pull in person. So genuinely, as a fan of the sport, like Henry said, as a genuine fan of the sport, I want to see him pull, but maybe give it some time, but not anywhere close to management. I just can't work with somebody who is at that level of, I mean, what Romeo said is true, right? There's a lot of ego, there's a lot of pride, there's a lot of like, I must be wrong. No, I must be right at all times. If I'm wrong, I'm gonna deflect that, right? Um, and I mean, the only time he apologized, it seems like it's a subtle way to throw me under the bus. Like, I apologize to everybody, um, you know, because the Chinese guy screwed up the pay-per-view. I'm like, what? Why are you apologizing for on behalf of the company when you're not even employed at the company, right? So it's one of those kind of weird thing that his way of subtly throwing people under the bus. It's so dumb, right? And I think people are actually seeing through those colors. I I just hope that we can just move on past, focus on Switzerland, and going forward, because it literally is going to be a super cool event. Like the Swiss guys, I've met Luca, Ivan, Susanna in EVW 15 for the first time. And at that point, I'm like, I know they're cool people. So it's unfortunate. I know uh there's a lot of mischaracterization, a lot of misinformation, a lot of uh confusion out there still about the whole domain name and whatnot. It's Yeah, see, this X is still talking about uh, you know, some nonsense, but it's a very unfortunate thing that this came about. Like, not gonna lie, I actually at one point genuinely liked him, because I'm like, wow, this guy is a very knowledgeable guy, and he's a hard worker. Nobody's gonna take that away from him. But what we can take away is that I think it's just his character of uh he can't lose, right? He can't lose, which is actually fairly common, because to have that kind of trait, can't lose, is what is reflected in his achievement in arm wrestling. Because he fights really hard, he has that no losing mentality. He trains harder than people. He go the extra mile, so he becomes it's that's why he's like an accomplished arm wrestler. But at the same time, it does not translate over to a working condition. It's not it's not conducive when, in order to grow something, you need to delegate, you need to work as a team, and unfortunately that's not the case. There's a lot, I mean, yeah, the videos are great. Matter of fact, actually, through the videos, I figured out how many people were actually blacklisted, which is, if you actually see the pattern, guys, after when I was informed about the whole black, I had a live stream with Schoolboy. Uh, all those are actually calculated. One is that I generally also want to get to be closer to some of the athletes, because it's pretty important that way. But it's also another way to show that Sour, Schoolboy, they're not. I have no animosity with them. right? Like even with like Ryan Bowen, like if he messaged me about something, I'm not gonna be like angry at him. I will still support him, but I just told him straight blank, like, for from the optic standpoint, I can't have you on our event, but all the best, right? So technically, it seems like it's a blacklisting, but we need to draw the line somewhere. But for the most part, I try to be an open book. You go on my channel, there are still people attacking me, uh, and I have it on good authority that Inga does have multiple accounts, and it's not a hearsay, not just a hearsay, but I do know that he got angry at me one day, very very angry. I think it caused him not to talk to me for a couple of weeks, and it was a time where I made the announcement that I wiped out the entire ban list, right? And and I also wiped out all the moderators because we had like, I don't know, 12, 15 moderators, something ridiculous like that. And I wanted to make sure that I knew who all the moderators are and I spoke to them directly at some point first. And then I could share my new vision and way of conducting our company, right? And so, and then I'll re-add them. So the first person that I actually trusted, because I met him, was Benji. And Benji was always there moderating all the content. So I spoke to Benji. He's like, hey, I sent him a whole list of all the moderators, have asking him, hey, so who are all these guys? What do you know about them? Are they pretty cool guys or what? Right. And what happened was Benji was like, oh, this guy is great. This guy, not active. I don't know who this guy is, and blah blah. And so just went down the list. Right. And this guy never moderated anything. So I'm like, okay, well, so I spoke to a couple of guys. Phil Woody's one, Drew is another that I messaged, and Benji. So these are the only three moderators on our official channels and my personal channel. Then what happened was, uh, out of the blue, I didn't even get any response back from Ingen, and I thought like, what just happened? And Robert came to me. He's like, uh, yeah, you apparently deleted one of Ingen's alternate account as moderator. I'm like, what? I didn't know that. It wasn't intentional. It's completely unintentional, right? And then he was literally arguing that, well, Dexter is he knows that was my account. He knows and that's why he deleted, and he removed that account as moderator. I'm like, how would I know? Like I literally genuinely don't know. And then I show Robert, like, look at my text messages to Benji. Like it was purely me genuinely asking who these moderators are, right? And then boom, I got flagged. Um, so it was kind of a very disturbing kind of relationship. Like I don't even know when I did something wrong, right? It's oh, what name? It's Lagia with a number. So not the main Lagia. Like it's a Lagia, I think Lagia 6, Lagia 8. I can't remember right now. I could probably look it up. Hold on. Let me look it up. Hold on 1 second, guys. I need to find Benji's chat because I took a screenshot and I can remember that it was just a ridiculous thing, like honestly. Uh, let's see. I can find it. Well, I don't want the whole stream to be on it, right? But it's crazy, right? Um, that's what I'm saying. Like we literally have to deal with stuff like that, and I feel like I'm always walking around eggshells. I'm literally walking around eggshells with Ingen. Very stressful. I'm like, and even and that's why in Chicago you saw that when I did a live stream down at the lobby, and like everybody was happy. Like even the refs, I can tell you for a fact, the refs are super happy. because the refs weren't getting constant like bombarded with like text messages like, "Hey, you missed this," during the event, literally during the event, right? Their phones would be buzzing nonstop. You missed this. Hey, you're wrong. You gotta go check that. And it was just pure micromanagement, and it was just like stressful for everybody. And even when I'm doing something, I have to figure out, well, what would Ingen do, or what would he think about me if I did that, right? Very, 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 very stressful kind of relationship. Uh, and I I know I might be it wasn't planned for me to come on and kind of sharing all these, but it's one of the situations where in order to get past things, I think people kind of need to know certain things, right? And yes, I'm reading comments that there is an investigation on the website, right? We are close, and we for the last final push, we might need to involve the authorities to get to certain things. But for sure, we isn't too bummed out after hearing certain things. Well, I hope not because we have uh, we have the Swiss event. We have the Swiss event. It's going to be super awesome. I saw the card. I'm blown away. Uh, it's so good that try to fly there. I would say fly there. Okay, fly there. It's such an amazing venue. It's such an amazing country. Uh, take an extra week to just tour around Switzerland. You won't regret that. Uh, Drew, are you talking about Drew Gallagher? Yeah, it's I'm trying to sell things down, and then I'll go back and talk to him because a lot of athletes actually are uh very in favor of him, and they continue to send him messages asking him to come back. So that's pretty good. Uh, I appreciate you publicly asking Coach Ray's question in the Chicago press doing Ben. Oh yes, yes. Okay, so thank you X for saying what you said, and that was actually a calculated move on my part. Uh, right. I mean, what we've done actually is I was already talking. So Ray and I, we've had a pretty decent relationship. I mean, after from King of the Table 40, is it 14? Yeah, 13 in Atlantic City. We actually hung out. We actually drove to New York City. We went around the city. Going to Trump Tower, everything. Just walking around the city, eating hot dogs in the rain. So we spent a little bit of time together. Got to know him a little bit better. So I've always had that level of communication with him, even throughout everything. But I did tell him, I did tell him whenever we had issues. So there were times where it would be referenced that, hey, Dexter, like in Ingen's video, like Dexter doesn't even want Ray here and whatnot, and it would be usually in the context of Dexter. Did you know Ray told all the European athletes to boycott East versus West? He was telling people not to show up. Uh, I'm like, well, that's not good. Yeah, then yeah, he shouldn't come back to East versus West if he did that, right? So there'll be that kind of message. But then I will go and message Ray. It's like, dude, did you really do this? And he says, absolutely not. Look, Sandra said this came, and so and so came. So there are people that came. So then I'm like, okay, well, that's verified that didn't happen. So there was always that line of communication with Ray, and so even through this thing, when I knew Inget's no longer in control of the company, well, he's not part of this whole setup. I went ahead and just kind of show and drop subtle hints that you know, Ray is still a valued member of the arm wrestling community and he should not be blacklisted. That was all. That was it. That's exactly why I did what I did. Now, Rat, yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the animal other than it's usually pointed in a way where it's almost like a traitor. And anybody who goes and damages things, that's what Rat does, right? So Yeah, it might not be the nicest way of putting things, but it's just not something I'm proud of, really. But I'm, I didn't sleep like 42 hours that day because I was just dealing with all sorts of nonsense. And after we were like celebrating such an accomplished event that was people were just raving at Chicago's event, Colorado's event, only to find out that we can't go a full event without having some level of problems. So it was so like I was just about to cheer and get excited, only to find out like, oh wait, I have to deal with this now. So and then lack of sleep, and but either way, I am still not. I can still call this person a rat. Whoever did it, whoever did it, whoever did it, it's a rat. I was yeah. What are confirmed matches for EVW double X? I'm trying to think. I think Dave Shafee's match. That's that's been announced, right? Stay tuned throughout the whole week. You'll figure out uh all the events. Sorry, all the matches. It will not disappoint. Not disappoint. Out of the 27 athletes, um, who has come, I think almost everybody has come back. To be honest, honestly, I think all of them has come back. Ingen keeps on spreading lies with his videos that have handpicked comments. Well, I mean, okay. Now I know at one point, and I think I think Drew's on here, and he's my moderator, so he knows that in YouTube there is a setting for moderation. So and one is for live moderation, and one is for videos. For live videos, I've set it to basic moderation, just just because. And then for full like normal videos, it's set at no moderation. So for live moderation, if you set some certain things that it'll be automatically flagged, so it'll be hidden. And unless a moderator releases them, uh, unless a moderator releases them, it would not show. It just won't appear. So there were a lot of people saying that, oh yeah, Dexter, you're deleting messages, censoring people. I mean, like, okay, guys, let's look at Ingen's first video and look at my first video about the whole domain thing, right? Let me just check real quick. My video had approximately the same amount of views. Okay. Let's look real quickly. Replay. Was it replay? Is it 8 days ago? Replay. Yeah. 16,000. Okay, 16,000 views. So I am going to share my screen. Let's just so everybody can check this out, right? Chrome tab EVW replay. Let's check this out. Let's see. Okay, you guys can see my screen, right? See that? Okay. You guys can see my screen. Let's see. This is the first video that he came out. Replays 16,000 views. 96 comments. Okay, maybe it's 95 tomorrow. I don't know. And then let's look at my first video. My first video when I did that live. Let's see. Was it this one? 17,000 views. Close, right? Close, right? I have 1,000 comments. I have 1,000 comments, and he only has 96 comments. So just looking at that, unless he has trash views, meaning like people clicking it and then watching 1 second and dropping off, or it just doesn't make sense that I've more than 11 times his comments. Right. So, oh, sorry. I probably should show this. Right. Okay. Look, guys. Sorry. I probably should. Right. 17,000 views, 1,000 comments. And let's go back. I see this. His
Hello,
video.
everyone. I'm trying
16,000
to
views. Approximately the
enjoy the
same.
retirement,
96
but
comments. Right? So don't accuse me of censoring, right? Don't don't say that. Oh, okay. Well. That was a whole bunch of robots commenting on my videos. But don't say that I'm censoring anybody. When I have 11 times more comments.
hello everyone.
Just round it up 10, right? It's just it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I well, it doesn't make sense for me to be deleting things. We know he's deleting things, and I know that's one thing that Devin is pretty upset about. Was that he was upset that Ingen was deleting positive comments about Devin on EVW official channel, and it's one thing that Ingen refused to apologize to Devin for. So that one is what I can, you know, I can testify that is one of the things that Devin requested Ingen apologize for. Oh yeah, he could. So you guys are all lucky to be live, to be witnessing this. Well, math doesn't math. The math does. Yeah, you guys can witness this because it might be stricken. So I'll probably remove that for a second. But oh, you know what? No, actually, according to YouTube community guidelines, if it's a review on something, it's allowed, to, within reason. So I don't know. He didn't even ban me. Okay, well, look, guys, I've successfully converted X. Uh, from being a hater to apparently a lover right now. So, well, I don't agree with INA, but don't get me into trouble. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. It could be because I do know. Okay, guys. So one of the conditions that the very last agreement that he sent Robert Baxter home with, because Robert sent him an agreement for his rehire, right? And it was a whole bunch of things in there. And then Ingen took it back home, struck everything out, most of it out. And but he did include one clause that Roma needs to be rehired. And I'm like, Robert, that's not happening. We're not letting a guy who's proven himself to be a detriment to the sport and the organization back in. Like we're finally cancer free and we're taking him back. He doesn't do anything that's worthy of us even considering it. So it could be him. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he has an army of new moderators. I do know one thing though. That I do know that some of his moderators, such as Benji, has also been kicked out. So that's what Benji said. Like, I've been kicked out. I'm no longer moderating for Ingrid. Uh, it's quite funny. It's honestly laughable. Um, we, I mean, you guys can just trust. Oh, before that, because I'm gonna be using this channel mostly to kind of speak my mind a little bit on a very casual format. And so, guys, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe so you guys will get notified. Um, yeah, I here you guys hear another interesting thing. You know, you know how we have how we have all the kids. So we have our streaming platform, right? Our pay-per-view. And if you're using our apps and whatnot, you can actually participate in the chat group. So there's live chat while our pay-per-views live. So if you guys haven't bought our pay-per-views ever during a live event, you guys should try it. It's fun because you guys can even take selfie videos and it'll be uploaded if it's within reason. There are still a bunch of moderators that we have to hire that actually work full time moderating the chat to prevent, you know, cussing and people taking obscene and pictures and videos of themselves So we have moderation, and one of the moderation direction that we have to give them was that we have to you know under under the direction of England that there must be no comments that disrespected him, else it needs to be censored, right? That's kind of what we have to do, right? Now, again, maybe they're from a culture where they won't accept any disrespect whatsoever. That's not tolerated. But I'm sure that they need to also realize that they can't control everything around them. Like even in their own country, they can't control everything what people say about them or what people think about them. So I hope everyone who has uh has thought of making those comments, they're not they're not going to be held back. Well, they're not just going to be free flowing right now because I'm cool with disrespectful comments. I'm just saying I don't like it. Honestly, I don't like it, and I don't think anybody loves it. But at the same time, all I just ask is do it in a civil, respectful manner if you have something to be critical about. I think that would go a long way with me. Anybody who has a comment, who have a suggestion, an idea, criticism, s- try to be respectful. Try to be respectful. Uh, Disrespectful comments, it could be negative. So it was very vague because it was a blanket, no dissing, absolutely no dissing. So there was there. What is this? Let's see. Was EV? Do you mean EVW or EVE profitable under Ingen, or was it subsidized by cash? It was mostly profitable. That we can agree. Ooh, wow. 40 minutes ago, I said I was gonna terminate it at 2 hour mark. I guess I went way over. Uh, I hope everybody uh don't all of a sudden go to his channel and start attacking him because, well, for one, it's gonna get deleted anyway, so don't waste your time. But two, I hope this is one step that everybody got a whole load of, you know, uh, facts that they now can have sorts of closure to a certain degree and move on and and and, and move on. I want to just focus on positivity. Yeah, I just want to focus on positivity. I want to focus on the future and focus on growing the sport. How well did EBW 19 did financially? Try not to ask me about financial stuff because I won't answer them in very good detail or in any detail really. That part is kept private. So uh, just so you know. Um, I want to end. Oh wait, sorry, I didn't. Did I miss this? Oh yeah, I didn't miss this. But yeah, everybody, I'll try to do something more regularly. Maybe on is Sunday a good day? I don't know, but whenever I'm available. Um, but no, 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 no. It's our big sponsor, Triple X Fitness. That's our big sponsor. And the owner is Luca, very very big supporter of arm wrestling. So he's actually the main reason why we're doing it in Switzerland. So thank you to Luca for all his support. He's one of the no nonsense kind of guy. He's one of the no nonsense kind of guy. He's the kind of guy who uh you want to know how genuine this guy is? You want to know how cool Luca is, right? Luca in the early days, we couldn't announce Swiss. We met them since 15. We've always talked about East vs. West 15. So in October of last year, we've always talked of having an event in Switzerland, right? oh, he'll be a sponsor. We'll do it in conjunction of the Swiss Open, which is the largest European Open tournament, right? We've always talked about that, but then the whole drama in Chicago happened, and then he says, Dexter, look, if you don't have Ingen back, we're not gonna have an event in East versus West will not be part of the Swiss Open, and therefore you won't have your event in Zurich. That's not okay. And he was the largest sponsor, right? And so we were like, okay, well, since like the Swiss are pressuring us to do a deal with Ingen, so we try to move forward. We try to push. So Robert's like, okay, well, there are pros and cons working with Ingen again, and one of the big cons is, you know, well, one of the big cons if you don't do it is that you won't have the Swiss support. So, okay, we had a call, right? We have a call. Matter of fact, the Swiss guys, the Swiss team, uh, we had a group meeting. We had a group meeting, uh, well, a video conference call, and they requested Devin to be on a call. Okay, so they brought Devin in, and obviously the owner of the company, Jody, was there. Again, a joke, guys. I have to always phrase it that way, else it's going to be cut off, and somebody's going to use a clip. Basically asking, can you play nice with Ingen so that you East versus West can have all the athletes back and everything will be back to normal. But they wanted Devin to play nice with Ingen. Okay. Devin bit his tongue. Devin tried really, really hard. And I could tell like he didn't agree, but he knew that if this was what the sport needed, he would go ahead and do it. Okay. So he reluctantly, I understand. I get it. If this is what it is what it is. Okay. So then in that meeting, also, we suggested, okay, there's a lot of things that it will be a he said, she said argument. And in order to preserve the integrity of the agreement, we will need a witness. Okay. And so all you guys who are talking about all the Swiss and whatnot, right. Exactly. You guys are right. The Swiss wanted Devin there as well because they know he will pull in a big crowd, right? But they wouldn't do it without Ingen as well. So they needed Ingen and Devin to play nice. So, well, and back to the whole thing. In order for the agreement to hold through, right? We came up with a plan to have the Swiss be a witness to the agreement. Okay, so certain things like the agreement was, there will be no disparaging of any of our athletes or management when Inge gets hired back. There'll be no attacks. There'll be no attempts to pull athletes and tell them to boycott the league. Right. So there was a whole bunch of things that we were in there. So we submitted that. And then throughout that weekend, it was only like between like a day or two where the Swiss came back to us. It's like they came back and says, dude, you know what, guys? We don't want Inget here anymore. Let's do it without him. I can't stand Inget anymore. I'm like, whoa. And Robert and I looked at each other. I was like, wait, what just happened? And this was the weekend the weekend before Chicago, Colorado. So we were like, Robert, what just happened? The guys that we really wanted to be partners, they turn on him. And then if you guys also remember, it was the days leading up to it. I had a podcast that weekend. I had a podcast with Sergey, I had a podcast with Camille, and I had a podcast with Vermes, which kind of shake things up. And so all these things were happening at the very same time, right? And then what happened was Luca was like, dude, I'm not talking to that guy again. He's obnoxious, he's arrogant, and he's full of it. He was threatening me. He was like, EVW East versus West would not go to Switzerland without me. We won't have an event there without me. And good luck trying to sell your hotel rooms that you've already booked, because Luca was sponsoring hotel rooms for us, right? He was paying for our hotel rooms. So we were like, so Lucas, Luka's a very well respected individual in his country, a self made man, a very you know wealthy in right. He's not gonna take a crap from England, and for somebody to threaten him, who forced him, who was pushy, he was like, screw him, screw him. Now I know. Now I understand what Robert and Dexter had to go through. You know what? Let's do it without him. And then they start working their connections because, I mean, and they start hitting up all the European athletes. And it was also doing my podcast and my live stream with Kalinichenko where we had that Dota game, and it was the time where the Europeans are starting to doubt, huh? What's really happening here? Were all what we were told false? Were all what we were told falsified? Were all what we were told like a ruse? That, a problem that never should have occurred. So then the Europeans were like, let me reconsider this whole thing. Right. Wait a second. So in this whole argument, the only people that lose is us, the European athletes, right? And EVW. Why? It's dumb. So they start opening their eyes, and that's why they start coming out and it says, uh, no, guys. We some had a stance that, well, we don't want EVW to change the rules, whatever, right? And the second thing was, we just want to pull. We don't want to be blacklisted. So the Swiss team was also very instrumental in getting the Europeans back as well, because they were like, look, Swiss team, we have decided to not go the England route, and we've partnered with Robert and Dexter, right? I'm going to be issuing you guys invite. Do you guys want to pull? And everybody is like a resounding yes, right? It's a resounding yes. So that's when Robert had the confidence, right, to make that announcement. We were supposed to announce it on Monday, but we were traveling, and then ended up being Tuesday, and then we were busy traveling, and then we recorded it on Tuesday night, and then we cleaned it up a little bit with the audio and whatnot, and then we published it on Wednesday morning. Right? That's the timeline. That's literally the timeline. We literally want to just let the athletes pull. Like, there's no sense in telling them not to pull because you're not there, and then some rules gonna be, some rules gonna be, broken or manipulated or changed to allow Devin to get an advantage. And as you guys all saw his performance in Colorado, it was one of the more convincing wins that he have gotten. He knows this whole drama has taken a toll on his, has taken a toll on his name and reputation for being what I would disagree with, a cheater. And so he was like, nope, I'm gonna do it. And even when he won the last round of left, he was like, no, we can't have that. We gotta have like a clear win. We can't have Alex losing on a foul. Let's pull. Let's pull. I want to just show it that we can do it in a clean way, right? So we have that. Let's see. I don't know what this is. I'm gonna come back to you in a second, but yeah. So there is that whole component. So when we knew that the Europeans are coming back, we got confirmation for at least 12 Europeans have already came back. We just need to work on the second half, which we now eventually got, right? I'm confident we can move forward. We can make the announcement. It's Swiss as the next event, and we've got great partners there. It's one of those partners where I think they were very rational. They understood, and they weren't biased, and they were going into a conversation with an open mind, right? They didn't just like blindly says, this is how we do things. This is how we'll only do it, and there's no negotiations whatsoever. So this really got me thinking, like, the Swiss are really, now I understand why the Swiss are a very neutral country, because of the way that they think, right? It was only a few days where they went zero to they had a 180 on the whole decisions. So I really I really appreciate how the Swiss culture is and how they think. So I absolutely and very very happy that we are able to move forward with such an amazing partner, and they've been great to work with, like literally great to work with. They're very cordial. They're very complimentary. They did they do ask for things, right? Like every other like every other partners, but and they'll remind me like, hey, I'm still needing this. I still need that. But when I send them something, they're like, oh, this is great. This is amazing. This thank you. And so very it's a very very different working environment right now within the company, right? Now, obviously, the whole domain thing is still linger at the back of our heads. I kind of told Robert like it's going to be very incredibly difficult to find exactly who did it, right? Even if you found IP addresses, you could always say, well, there was spoof or there was some way of, uh, well, some guy came to my house and used my Wi-Fi or whatever. That's so many ways of going around things, and I mean, the smoking gun would be access to the Gmail account that was used to transfer everything. That at one point they said the password was lost, and then all of a sudden, no, they still had it. So, but we still haven't gained access to it, and trying to get access to that would require like some level of Supreme Court subpoena on Google's servers. I Again, I'm not saying it's anybody. I'm just saying that it's just very very difficult to get super concrete proof without any doubt, with a shadow of doubt, that is that person is very difficult. Uh, so uh, yeah, so it's one of those things that we will be lingering around for a bit. I kind of told Robert like at this point, I'm just glad that we were able to transition out very fairly quickly in the short period of time to our new domain name. So I'll call that a win to a certain degree. Um, Crazy expensive accommodations, Zurich. Good luck with that. Well, guess what? Again, about crazy accommodations. We were lucky that the Swiss team are our main sponsor is taking care of the hotel rooms, so that's part of the sponsorship. So without Luca, Triple X Fitness, we would not be able to host our event there because of the costs. And I know there were a couple of people who mentioned like why aren't we hosting and the event at the same venue over and over again. I'm just trying to say that in order to grow the sport, I know it's a growing pains, but we can always go back to our venues that we've worked with that, and we know how to work with them. So, and we're always finding great partners. And pretty soon, though, guys, right? I'm going to have our new producer, our new broadcast producer, Kristen. She will be coming on our show to explain a little bit on a podcast to explain a little bit on her process on helping us build our team in Zurich. So that would be a really really. She was telling me her methodologies and everything, and it was like fantastic. Like she has, I think, gone through 12 different partners, potential companies to work with, and she told me this was the criteria, and it's very methodological, very very methodological. So I'm very excited to uh to for you guys to see how cool Switzerland would be. This week we're gonna start scheduling all our matches. Gradually we'll release them, and you guys won't be disappointed. Rebrand, yeah, yeah. We're not rebranding East versus West at the current time. It's going to be pretty nuts. A lot of time, a lot of goodwill. There's still example, right? Right now, is EVW Sports owns both brands, King of Table and East versus West. Okay, technically, since 14, King of Table has the same exact format, same rules, same everything. The only thing is the brand. Uh, and yet, uh, sponsors, they still don't care. They just want East versus West. They literally told us that if it's not East versus West, we will not sponsor your event. I mean, like, it's the same. It's the same people, same owner, same brand, same athlete, same everything. It's only the different name. It's just, nope, got to be this brand. So because of that, you can kind of see why we are kind of stuck with that. Because it takes a long time to build up a good brand, which we can credit, Ingen and many people who have helped the brand. So we gotta, you know, we gotta try to use a little bit, which is why King of the Table seems like it's on the back burner, but that's because of that. But it's such a good King of the Table, such a good name, such a good brand, and we still want to try to use them. But right now, we're still, for all the drama, all the headache, all the moving parts, we are trying our best to focus and figure out how to you know do one thing at a time for now. Yeah, yeah, yep, that's right. Special, but it'd be pretty cool. Uh, Now I get why the name switch didn't happen immediately after the hack. Warning treachery. Uh, yeah. Welcome to Russia. We are friendly. I will regale you some delicious homemade vodka. Ooh. Well, if everybody knows me and Robert really well, you would know that we we don't drink, smoke. Um, yeah. So no liquors, no coffee, no tea, and so thank you for that vodka. Unless it's zero proof, unfortunately, we won't be trying that. Um, chocolate. That's that's me and Robert's. You know, pleasure. We love chocolate. Robert's one of the biggest dessert guy, big dessert guy. So if you're trying to get a match at EVW, make sure you bring Robert some chocolate, and I'm pretty sure you're up on that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. We won't allow ourselves to get bribed in order for you to get a match. That's not happening. Uh, gross. Yeah, that's that is funny. That is funny. You look bigger than 89 kilograms. It's the camera's angle. All right. I everybody who was doubting that I was really as tall as I am was proven wrong, and I have not lied to you guys. And I'm not going to start now by lying about something so minuscule about my weight. I'm actually 88 and a half right now. So there's that. Let's see. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that. Matter of fact, one of our loyal super you know sponsor, Gold Star. Now, nothing against Gold Star. Like, honestly, nothing. Guys, check this out. Check this out. Right? Look at this. Look at this. See? I may not have coffee inside, but that doesn't mean I don't support one of our best sponsor ever, Gold Star Coffee. Go to their website. He's one of the coolest guys. If you actually got the chance to even talk to this guy, he can talk for days and all about cool stuff. He's a big fan of arm wrestling, and I'm a big fan of anybody who supports us, obviously. Uh, and I've spoken to many sponsors, and he's by far one of the coolest one out there. So super cool guy. Uh, yeah, his cup up seems good. Yeah, cup up's expanding. Try them if it's in your area. Great company. There we go. Big fan. They are in Canada, yeah, and they do ship to America. All right, this is a question for you, Gold Star. Do you make any tea or hot chocolate? So there's that. One thing though, I need to kind of remind everybody: King of Table is a company that I don't believe you can trademark because it's tied to other sports as well. Like I think ping pong slash table tennis. I think they have a better handle on that, and they have a lot more players than arm wrestlers, so it's pretty difficult to have that. For EVW, like East versus West, uh, we were able to get well the process rolling, irregardless of any assistance from England, it was because we own the trademark. If you go to the US PTO, right, US Patent Trademark Office website, you will see that we own the East versus West trademark, which we can use that to uh, get the domain name back. But it's such a lengthy process. But as I mentioned yesterday, it's not the end of the world if you don't even have it back. The only thing that we'll lose is that maybe some guy who probably went on a mission or just was gone for a couple of years, and he decides to come back and he was like, oh, what was the company name who did all the arm wrestling? Is it this website? And he just types it in, and then it will go to nowhere. He's just like, oh, maybe it's gone. It's just one of those things. But I think everybody is, who's more in the know would know that our new website is evwsports.com. So there's that. Proven data. Yeah, it is a proven data. The ease was strong. Gold Star responded. It's just coffee right now. But hey, Gold Star, maybe you can do a Dexter special and do a hot chocolate one for me. Maybe you could do that. I will help you craft one chocolate brand. EVW is a name. Can you do a linear regression on correlated data? Yeah, I can. I'm pretty good at it too. So, yeah, I know I can do that. Don't pick on Tree. King of Table is always better brand before England try to sabotage it. Um, now that one is a little bit difficult to say. That one's a little bit difficult because one thing I cannot do is pretend to know what somebody else is thinking. Right? I can only comment on messages. Well, I mean, like concrete, distinct actions. Now, if you ask me, was King of the Table matches inferior? Again, am I really in the position to say that I'm really good at matchmaking, and so I know what good matches are and bad matches are? I just have to be a little bit careful trying to do that because I'm not an expert. But one thing I can say is whether you guys want to listen or not, or take it with a grain of salt, it's my opinions because my opinions only matters mostly to me. And if you guys want to hear it, I'll share it. My opinion is King of the Table matches. There were a couple good nuggets thrown. Don't get me wrong. There were a couple good nuggets thrown in there. But from a general sense, like for an overview sense, if you watch and did a poll on how much people cared about the whole card, I think generally people would say that East versus West matches were superior by a significant margin than King of Table. That's what I that's just my personal opinion. My personal opinion. And then there's always that talk about, right? Devin, matches. Well, I mean, events with Devin don't really matter that much unless he's known to pull against certain someone, because the argument was, well, Devin is only good. Well, I mean, the lowest pay per view match ever in King of Table and EVW history was when Devin was pulling. I think was it Leonidas? Was it Leonidas? I can't remember. But I remember when I looked into it, that statement is quite unfair because of several reasons. One, it was a massive mismatch. Two, it wasn't marketed. It didn't do very good promotion, and there was operational problems. So we had three problems that happened. Right, a terrible mismatch, and then we had, what do we have? We have terrible promotion because it was done very last minute, and they just didn't push content out very well. And the final one is that the operational had issues. The venue was changed last minute, and because of all these issues, is it fair to blame you know, that well, Devin doesn't do anything because the worst match in pay per view in EVW history is when Devin was in it, right? So it's that this kind of analytical thinking, it's quite dangerous because what that is you have very specific bias on certain things and you're proving things. Example, right? Example. Uh, I drank, I'm drinking water, and you know, I struck lottery tomorrow. Okay, and then I says, oh, because I was drinking water, I struck lottery. It's just one of those things that this correlation, causation. We gotta make sure that those links are tight. So it's just one of those that is not a fair assumption to say that Devon's does not bring any or very very much value, even if he's pulling somebody that obviously is way under his power level, right? Was Devon top in the top pay per view? That happened before my time, but I believe it is. I believe it was. So I believe it was. So yeah, uh, Devin versus Levon was best. You know what? I think that was it. I think it was the second Devin versus Levon. I believe that was. Is it 10? I think that was the highest pay per view of all time. So, uh, let's see what was Gold Star saying. I agree with you on the Devin versus Lionel match. We knew it was not going to be close, and they were too friendly to create rivalry. Yeah, yeah. But guys, you want to hear a crazy update though? I don't know. Maybe sometimes I feel like I just go off and start. I just go off and start talking about stuff. I might get myself into trouble. But who? Leonidas might be back. Leonidas might be back. Just you heard it here first. He might be back. He's already talking to us about like ESN, one of the big sponsor. They were like, "Hey, you think he might be interested in coming back?" I mean, like if we could sponsor Switzerland and could he pull here, etc. and everything. Like, unfortunately, there was a conflict in sponsorship. Like, example, if another coffee company comes in, we will have to gracefully decline them, even though even if it's a lot bigger money. Unless I had a conversation with the owner of Goldstar, who happens to be on this chat right now, and I will be completely open to him, and I'll tell him like, "Hey, look, these guys are offering, 20 times as much as you're offering me." Yeah, I'm just making things up right now, right? Theoretically, and then he would, and I know Goldstar himself. He's a big supporter of the sport. He'll probably say, "Yes, you know what? Don't take my money. Go for them. I will still support you from behind the scenes, etc." Because what happens is it's not right to have two coffee companies. So this time, uh, Triple X is our main sponsor. We've locked it in. We are not going to go back on our word. Even if somebody gives us 50 times more money, well, I mean, 50 times is a lot of money. So we might have to talk to Luca a little bit about it. But no, ESN and Triple X has a conflict, and they both wants to be the title sponsor, which obviously we can only have one. Therefore, we might be pushing that off to the next event. So there's that. So Leonidas, see, you guys are just pretty good at digging stuff out of me, man. You guys are pretty good at trying to get me to reveal more information. Oh yeah, yeah. Uh, Happy Independence. Oh, I think yeah, from a Malaysian standpoint, for sure. Independence Day is coming up. Coming up. How did I meet Robert? How did I meet Robert? I was friends with one of his partners, and then his partner introduced and one of his partners is now my partner as well, and then he introduced me to Robert. So it's kind of a networking kind of thing, and when I see a real cool individual who's honest, full of integrity, and pretty pretty nice guy to hang out with, why not? Why not? So, and I think I did have Robert come in to uh, and help me with like some consultations and whatnot. I mean, yeah, Robert's a super. You want to hear a funny story about Robert? Uh, Robert and I. One of the so I met Robert once. He was at one of my restaurants, and because his partner brought him there for like a company meeting, and so when I happened to be there, his partner, which is now also my partner, Rich Linder, you guys should check out. He was like, "Hey, meet my chief business officer, Robert Baxter." He just goes going around, and that's my attorney. That's blah, blah, blah. He just goes around. I'm like, "Okay, cool, cool, cool." And I briefly kind of shook Robert's hand and just cool guy. I didn't really know about him. And then uh I don't know, maybe some time later, like a week or so later, I but when I was at my restaurant, I came in for dinner with my family, I think, and then my staff came to me. He's like, "Hey, that guy sitting there has been sitting there like for the past 7 hours or something ridiculous like that since lunch, and now it's like 7 p.m. and he's been there since lunch. Like, whoa, what do we do?" And then I look at it, like, oh, I know that guy. He's an acquaintance of mine. I didn't really know who is. I couldn't remember his name. And I says, you know what? Maybe he doesn't have a lot of money. Uh, so you know what? Just bring him some food, and just on the house, just on me. Well, I was sure wrong about that. It's not about him not having money. It was just, you know. And then after that, I got a little bit more comfortable with him and just spoke to him a little bit more. But he was just having a meeting with somebody else there. Yeah, see, guys, I told you, I know how exactly how Gosar thinks. He's very magnanimous. He's very selfless, for the sport. Super love this guy. Oh, Zarul Anis. Really glad to have one on the EVW team. You all Malaysians need to rewind maybe an hour and a half earlier, and I'm calling your president out for ghosting me, for not having the courtesy of just telling me what he really thinks to my face, and goes behind me and talks bad about me. I'm just throwing out there, right? I'm just I f- I feel like I am so used to being tiptoeing around things being, but I think I need to be transparent. Like I'm so I really want, right, Malaysia to be, Southeast Asia region, really, not just Malaysia, the Southeast Asian region to grow and flourish. So there's that line of this. We'll be back. Dude, chill. She will be on the podcast. I'm scheduling something with her. She will be on. I will get there. Hold on. We will always be part of the history of EVW since 12. Yeah, one way or the other, we love. It's we need to do a podcast. We need to do a podcast. I want to. You guys will love hearing. And I'm not saying this to you know, for payday or some sponsorship. And Gold Star, all right, he can also testify that some of the stuff that he has told me, I'm actually getting a lot of my information and well, yeah, a decent amount of information and ideas. It's also from Gold Star. So usually after one event, we'll end up talking, and maybe right after this podcast, I'll end up talking to the owner of Gold Star for like sometimes 4 or 5 hours, like a massive download, and he will give me ideas and what he thought about the event, how I could have done this better, and and yeah, and context behind the scenes, historical stuff, lots and lots of stuff, lots of stuff. Uh, dude, he might be soft spoken, but this guy is no joke. He is no joke. I knew that from the third day. I want to say that the second day was a free meal day. It's the third day when I knew he was no joke. He was no joke. Good question. Trying to think. I give me some time. I need to fact check this a little bit. Maybe stay tuned next Sunday. Next Sunday. Uh oh man, it is a tough business. Uh, go to my YouTube channel. I actually have one of my old videos in there that shows one of my businesses, one of the restaurants that I own. That's just one of a few. Yeah, just one of them. Yeah, yeah. No kidding, no kidding. Boy, was I wrong big time. Oh man. Oh man, that's Robert for you because he's so humble. It's very unassuming. He's very unassuming. When you see him, he's like the chillest guy, super cool. Very hard to get mad uh, at him, and it's very hard for him to get mad at anybody else as well. I've maybe seen him like even then, I wouldn't say even furious is not the right word. I would say slightly agitated. He was only slightly agitated once in my few years of knowing Robert. And it's I'll keep that story for another day because that's probably not a story for me to tell, it's for Robert to tell. But yeah, only once. And even that it was just slightly agitated. So yeah, it's who will Levon next opponent be? If you can reply, I will say yes. It is almost without a doubt Vitali. Unless something happens, unless something else changes, but for now, it'll most likely be Vitali. Mm, not it, probably not December. Maybe not December. Might be the event after December. So we'll we'll see. Um, well, here's the thing, though, right? Um, just a different style things. Different style things. I but I am not gonna disclose financial information at this time. Uh, yeah, Levon's not ready yet. Matter of fact, we actually did ask if Levon was ready, and he says no. He's not ready. Um, yeah, Gold Star. There's a lot of talk about Gold Star. I love it. Oh hey, Matt Rhodes. We were just talking good stuff about you and how we probably should at some point resume some conversation about doing a collaboration. We'll have to talk out all the details while we still have time. And we don't want to rush into things. And if it works out, it works out. If not, so be it. We see the value in partnering in Siberia. Maybe it's when Devin pulls Vitali there. So RuneScape, yes, I used to play it when I was. Is it elementary or in middle school? I think elementary or middle school. I did play a lot of RuneScape. It's actually my first RPG, MMORPG. Yeah, I I'm a nerd, man. I'm a nerd. I did not go out, and maybe it's because I don't drink. So parties to me are that I'm only aware of is LAN parties. So so there's that. Yes, yes. Uh, yeah, we will have you on. Matt's in here. Yes, Robert is not the CEO. He relinquished his position. I mean, you can't be CEO of EVW Sports, handle all the drama, and also be the CEO of Five Guys, of all Canada. It's just way too much work. He is the chairman. He's the chairman of the company that operates all the Five Guys in Canada and parts of the United States. And that's only one of the brands that he's doing. He has other brands as well. Uh, Whoa, stop making stuff up, buddy. I don't like people putting words in my mouth unless this is a troll, obviously. Uh, and, uh, bring on Matt. He's here. Man, I was about to wind down an hour and a half ago because I still need to make a phone call to Gold Star. AV20 is a goal. Okay, I'll just let me just uh let me go get this. That's Matt Rhodes. I don't know where's Matt Rhodes. Matt Rhodes, you wanna send me a message? Did the sound? I'm a fan. I'm pulling Levon. Yeah, well, Levon might be pulling more than once a year. Usually about twice a year. Almost. It's not quite once a year. It's a little bit more often than that. Sounds like a conglomerate chain. Call of Duty. Matt left. It seems. Yeah, it's yeah. I'm almost about to wind down. We gotta get past all these. We get everything out. I gotta make a phone call to Ghost Star. He wants to talk about, just a debrief on the event, and might do this more often. I haven't actually got a chance to talk about 19 really. That was my whole intention, just talking about the matches and what I thought about it, the whole process. Um, yeah, that's way past for my algorithm. Like and subscribe, guys. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good night.